Hello and welcome back to another Football Commentaries live stream. It is the first of three European finals tonight as Dublin is the host city for this season's Europa League final as Italian underdogs Atalanta take on unbeaten Bayer Leverkusen. For Atalanta, they are in their first ever European final after a semi-final victory against Marseille after conquering Sporting Lisbon in the last 16 and Liverpool in the last 8. And in Serie A, they have already qualified for the Champions League in fifth as the Serie A have taken that extra Champions League spot. For Leverkusen, they have already made history with their unbeaten league season, winning their first ever Bundesliga title, but a treble is on as they have the final of the German Cup on Saturday alongside the final tonight on this Wednesday evening. 2 games off, Leverkusen are onto an unbelievably historic season. Just 2 more wins would lead them onto one of the most successful footballing seasons in the sport's history. These two have only met twice previously, and they were both back in March 2022 in the Europa League last 16. Atalanta won both games home and away to progress to the last 8 on a scoreline of 4-2 on aggregate. With this game meaning so much to both teams, which of the two will win the Europa League and leave Dublin dancing in delight? It's a huge game for both. It cannot be understated how much not only it will mean to Leverkusen, of course, with the season they're having, the unbeaten season in all competitions, haven't lost a game yet, won their first ever league title. But even for Atalanta, they're in their first ever European final. They're looking to win their first trophy, first cup trophy since 1963. That is 61 years since Atalanta last won a cup competition. Since then, they have won, in their history, they've also won 5 Serie B titles, their last being in 2011. They've also won a third division title once in 1982, and then 2 seasons after they then went on won the Serie B to get into Serie A. So they have won plenty of lower league titles in terms of the second and third division in Italy, but in terms of cup competitions, they have not been as successful. But tonight could mark the end of this trophy wait for Atalanta, because under their current manager at the moment, Gianpiero Gasperini, they have reached 3 cup finals and have lost all 3 in 2019, 2021, and also this season in 2024. They lost the Coppa Italia by 1-0 to Juventus a week ago. So they're looking to shake that off and go again against a Leverkusen side that I don't think themselves can quite believe the season they are having, winning the Bundesliga already with 34 games played, 28 wins and the 6 draws, scoring 89 goals, conceding just 24, keeping 16 clean sheets, 8 at home and 8 away. But for Atalanta, they're not having a bad season of their own. 5th at the moment in Serie A, can't be moved from 5th place. They are 3 points away from 6th with 2 games in hand, with 2 games to play, one of them in hand. So Atalanta should be absolutely fine to qualify for the Champions League, and they would qualify for it automatically anyway if they were to win tonight. This Europa League title, as there is John O'Shea, the current Republic of Ireland football manager, interim at the moment. I don't think he's got the full-time job, but he is bringing the trophy out here at the Aviva Stadium. It is being held in Dublin, this final, like I said, at the Aviva Stadium, which can hold over 50,000 supporters. It was used for the Europa League final back in 2011 when Porto took on Braga. So it is the second time this venue is being used for the Europa League final. Good evening, hope everyone is okay. Make sure you like and subscribe before kick-off, which is coming up in just under 5 minutes' time. And it does seem there has been a split of 11,000 supporters each. I heard there was 11,000 Leverkusen supporters in the stadium, so I'm presuming it'll be pretty similar for Atalanta. Of course, fans would have been desperate to have got hold of tickets, but even if they didn't get hold of any tickets, I'm sure that plenty of Atalanta and Leverkusen fans would have made their way to Dublin just to be around the city for the day, possibly for the week. They might have come a little bit earlier to really soak in all the atmosphere, but at the moment both sides are waiting in the tunnel. Such a historic night for both of these supporters. Leverkusen have won this competition before when it was the UEFA Cup in 1988 against Espanyol. And they have also reached a Champions League final in their history back in 2002, but were beaten by Real Madrid. You might remember that very iconic Zidane volley goal in that game. But just the 4 trophies in Leverkusen's history now. Of course, the Bundesliga this season, their last trophy themselves before this season was the German Cup in 1993 to Hertha Berlin, and then of course as well the UEFA Cup title in 1988. And for Atalanta, they have only ever won one cup competition, and that was the Italian Cup in 1963. So much history can be written for these two sides. I mean, for Atalanta, history has already been written with the fact they've got to their first ever European final. But for Leverkusen, they are looking to try and complete one of the greatest footballing seasons of all time, as both sets of players here arrive out of the tunnel at the Aviva Stadium, being led out by the officials, the referee, Romanian Istvan Kovacs. And then the 2 assistants are also Romanian, with a fourth official which is Slovakian, of Ivan Kruzilac, and VAR is Paul van Bokel. And we will go through both sets of lineups now, as we're just around 3 minutes away from kickoff, and we'll start with the Atalanta side, who make just one change from their starting 11 in the second leg of their semi-final against Marseille, and it'll be Juan Musso to remain in goal. He has been Atalanta's Europa League goalkeeper, did make his first appearance in Serie A at the weekend since early December, obviously getting him prepared for this game tonight. Back 3 of captain Berat Jimsiti, the Albanian centre-half. Alongside him is a January signing of Isaac Hien, and also a summer signing of Sed Kalazanac, who lost the Europa League final back in 2019 whilst he was at Arsenal. 4 in the midfield. At right wing back will be Davide Zabacosta, who won the Europa League in 2019 with Chelsea when they beat that Arsenal side. Left wing back will be Matteo Ruggeri, who joined the club back in 2011. And 2 central midfielders of this goal-scoring machine, Toon Koopmeiners, who's got 12 league goals this season, but he hasn't scored yet in the Europa League, as alongside him will be the Brazilian central midfielder of Ederson. And then 3 up front. On the right will be Charles de Ketelara, who's on loan at the moment from AC Milan. He's got 10 league goals, 3 in his last 2, coming up with a brace against Roma in their recent 2-1 home win against Roma. And he's got 2 in the Europa League, de Ketelara, but both of them in the group stage. And on the left wing will be Ademola Lookman, formerly of Everton and Leicester. He has got 12 goals so far in all competitions this season. And up front, leading the line, the former Hammer striker himself, that is Gianluca Scamacca, who's got 18 goals so far this season. And for Leverkusen, they make just 2 changes from that semi-final second leg lineup against Roma, and it is Mate Kovar to remain in goal, brought in the summer from Manchester United. The back 3 of Edmund Tapsoba, captain Jonathan Tah, and Ecuadorian Piero Hincapié. 4 along the midfield. At right wing back would be the Bayern loanee of Josip Stanisic. On the left is Alejandro Grimaldo, making his 50th appearance for the club and of the season. And then 2 central midfielders of Ezequiel Palacios, and signing in the summer, Granit Xhaka, whose last defeat in a football match was back just over a year ago on the 20th of May, when Arsenal were defeated 1-0 away at Nottingham Forest. 3 up front. On the right wing will be Jeremy Frimpong, who's enjoying his best ever scoring season. He's got 14 in all competitions, scoring in the second leg of the quarter-final against West Ham. On the left will be Florian Wirtz, who made his 150th appearance for Leverkusen in their last game. And up front will be Amin Adli, more as a false 9 sort of role for the Moroccan. He usually plays out wide, but he will be playing through the middle tonight, as both sets of players are ready to kick off here, as it'll be Atalanta to kick off, kicking from right to left, and Leverkusen left to right. And as you can see on screen, Atalanta are in their blue and black kit, home kit, and Leverkusen are in their away white kit with strips of black and red. And we are underway in Dublin for this Europa League final. I am very much looking forward to this. I think this will be a cracking final between 2 really solid teams. Both have had to beat their fair share of really strong opponents to get to this position of the competition, as it's Atalanta attack down the right hand side here in the final third of Zappacosta, looking to try and force across. He's been forced to go backwards here. And it's a throw-in for Atalanta on that far side in the final third, as they'll want to try and get off to a bright start if possible against this unbeaten Leverkusen side this season. As the throw-in will be taken eventually by Zappacosta. He's going to throw it in towards the 18-yard box towards De Ketelaere, but headed away there by Grimaldo. Headed forward though by Jim City, the centre-half, but can't quite find the feet of Zappacosta. And in a defensive position on the left-hand side for Leverkusen, they will have themselves a throw-in. Trying to get their first few touches on the ball here as it's Grimaldo to play it forward to Wirtz, then returns it to Grimaldo. Simple 1-2, but it's effective, and it's been put into the space towards Adli, where it'll be dealt with in the end there by Atalanta's number 23 of Sed Kolasinac, whose ball forward is given away. Couldn't quite find De Ketelaere up front there for Atalanta. And Leverkusen are back on the ball with Xhaka playing it around the corner here to Wirtz. Stanisic is coming inside from the wing-back position, and he finds Stanisic and returns it to Wirtz again. Shifts it to the right here to Tapsoba. Brilliant start here from Leverkusen with their first spell of possession. It's on this near side here with Frimpong back to the right centre-half of Tapsoba. And now into the centre circle to the Ecuadorian of Hincapié. Now into the centre over midfield with Xhaka. Goes to his left here to number 25, Palacios, who started 6 of the last 7 Europa League games. It's now in midway inside the Leverkusen half with captain Jonathan Tah. Out to the right centre half of Tapsoba. Forward towards Frimpong. He will beat Ruggeri to the ball and keeps it ticking here with Stanisic. Xhaka lifts it towards Wirtz over his head and over Jim City, and it's volleyed into the air by Zappacosta, where it's headed forward by Hincapié, straight to Grimaldo, flicks it to Wirtz on the far side, just inside the Atalanta half, back to Grimaldo, then forward to an on-running Palacios, where it's Koopmeiners to cut out the pass, and he clears out for a throw-in for Leverkusen, taken quickly there by Grimaldo to Florian Wirtz. And there's now Leverkusen is starting to settle into this game here with Xhaka playing it down the left channel, headed away by Zappacosta, volleyed by Koopmeiners, up towards Scamacca. Free header won though for Tar in the end. And now it's bit of head tennis around as it's De Ketelaere to complete a 1-2 here with Scamacca, and De Ketelaere is away. Hincapié is chasing him, but towards the byline, De Ketelaere is still with it, tries to spin and pass. Can't quite keep it away from Palacios at the moment, then Hincapié pokes it away eventually. And it's now with Palacios in a left-back position for Leverkusen, into the 18-yard box to Xhaka, who's got time to turn forward and play a pass forward to Adli. It's now to Wirtz, into Xhaka again. We're still in the Leverkusen half as Xhaka is looking to play it out to this near side if possible. Goes to Edmund Tapsoba and Xabi Alonso on the touchline telling his side just to relax now with the ball, even though Xhaka's ran into traffic of Scamacca. But the Scamacca deflections fell to Wirtz. Now forward by Stanisic towards Adli. Loses out to Jim City, but seen as a foul there by the referee. A little bit of a shove by the Atalanta captain on Amin Adli. That's the Leverkusen set piece. Haki Waki, hello. Hope everyone is okay. I never know how to respond when you call me that. I never know what to say. But if you could all like and subscribe, that'd be absolutely fantastic. Like I say, I'm not just bigging this game up. I think it's going to be a really special Europa League final. There's going to be a history and there's going to be a story written, whoever wins this game. As for Atalanta, they have only failed to score 2 in their last 24 UEFA competition games. So if that's the Europa League or the Champions League. So they usually score in European matches, Atalanta, and it's important they get on the score sheet first tonight as Wirtz puts a very poor crossing towards the 18-yard box, dealt with there by Koopmeiners. Clear to the halfway line here to Granit Xhaka, who's got time to recycle it forward again in towards Wirtz, who's made a run. It's a punch away from the goalkeeper there of Musso in an all-orange kit tonight. It's Frimpong to win it back off Lookman, though, for Leverkusen. And Frimpong will try and go forward here into the final third. Can't quite get away from Ruggeri, left wing back for Atalanta. And the Italian side will try and play it out here with Edison, the central midfielder, who's just almost ran into traffic, but tripped by Xhaka. Almost nicked the ball there, Granit Xhaka, the Swiss central midfielder, but just a little bit too quick with the ball there, Edison. But it's a confident punch out there by Juan Musa, the Italian goalkeeper, the 30-year-old who turned 30 earlier this month for Atalanta. And just over 5 minutes in, we've not had any clear-cut chances yet for either side, but both have had spells on the ball as Lookman's been found in behind here. It's just overhit instead. I thought he'd just found Lookman with the ball in behind there by Hien, the Swedish centre-half, but just slightly overhit. And the Leverkusen goalkeeper of Kovar came out to collect. It's now Leverkusen in the defensive third. Tapsoba takes on Lookman and lifts the ball in behind for Wirtz, who will chase it down. Zappacosta will get there first. in the Atalanta defensive third, and he plays it to his goalkeeper, Juan Musso. He will take his time here, the Argentine goalkeeper. Came through the Racing Club youth system in Argentina, but was brought in from Udinese to join Atalanta in July of 2021. As Tapsoba gives it away in the Leverkusen half to De Ketelaere. Can't slip it through in the box, though, for Scamacca, straight to the feet of Hincapié instead. But it's an easy chance, that, for Atalanta, and they've won it back again. Hincapié overrunning it. De Ketelaere got in front of him, and he was pulled back by the Leverkusen number 3. And he's going to be quite fortunate to possibly get away without a yellow card there. Just overran it, and De Ketelaere got in front of him, and that meant Hincapié had to pull him down. I think he's avoided the yellow card, but Xabi Alonso won't be happy with that. 2 unnecessary giveaways of possession there, firstly by Tapsoba and then there by Hincapié. So a little bit nervy from a couple of Leverkusen players, but it is a big occasion. So much riding on this game. Ederson is stood over the ball for Atalanta, but I think he'll move away and it'll be a left-footed delivery instead here. For Atalanta, they've got plenty of bodies in the box. It'll be a delivery in from Koopmeiners on the angle. It's a low one into the box. It's a volley away by Palacios, and it'll drop on the edge of the area instead to Wirtz. Just goes out to his left to Grimaldo. Just about keeps away from Koopmeiners. It's now Granit Xhaka on the far side for Leverkusen, driving the ball forward here, and he gets beyond the halfway line. Granit Xhaka still with it, getting his head up to see his options, and goes back and across, looking for Tar at the central centre-back position, but he won't find him. Picked up by Scamacca. That's 3 giveaways by Leverkusen. It's Ruggeri on the overlap for Lookman, but Lookman will drive inside instead. Then back out onto his left. Ruggeri's free. It's a bit of a short pass, but he'll reach it and he'll cross it into the box, and it's just headed wide by Gianluca Scamacca, who's asking for a corner and he won't get it. Good run in there on the edge of the box by Lookman to get away from the challenger Palacios. And I thought he just played the pass a bit short to Ruggeri, but he was able to beat Stanisic to it. And he curled it away from the goalkeeper towards Scamacca, who beat Hincapié to the header. And did come off the Italian last and out for a goal kick. But Atalanta definitely seem the calmer side early on. Some Leverkusen passes going a little bit wayward in the opening 8 minutes of this Europa League final. As it will be Matej Kovar to take this goal kick for Bayer Leverkusen. As Leverkusen are the Europa League leading scorers this season. They've scored 31 in this competition. Won all 6 games in the group stage of the competition. Leverkusen having Karabag, Molde and Hacken. And then they had to take on Karabag again in the last 16. Just about scraping through, winning 5-4 with a Schick brace to win the tie, and then took on West Ham where they drew away from home 1-1, but their 2-0 win at home was enough for them to go through to the semi-finals, where they took on Roma and equalised in the 97th minute to keep their unbeaten run alive. Of course, a 1-0 defeat against Roma at home would have been enough to get them through, but the unbeaten run was still alive there, so they were able to get an equaliser quite late on in that game. As again, no real clear-cut chances. That wasn't the cleanest header there by Scamacca. I think it came off Scamacca first, then off Hincapié, then back off Scamacca to just trickle behind. As it's Atalanta on the ball, midway inside their own half, with their number 4 of Isaac Hien, brought in January from Hellas Verona for €9 million. Brought in on a contract that expires in 2028. Jim City looks for Scamacca in behind, straight through into the gloves of the goalkeeper of Matej Kovar for Bayer Leverkusen. And it's now with the central centre-back of the captain, Jonathan Tah, who was actually in the Leverkusen team when Leverkusen last faced Atalanta in March 2022 in the Europa League last 16. As Leverkusen have given it away here, Tapsoba pulling at Lookman. Not seen as a foul by the referee. And Leverkusen have it back into the Atalanta half on the near side with Frimpong, tackled well there by the number 23 of Sead Kolasinac, the former Arsenal defender. And it'll be a Leverkusen throw-in just in the Atalanta half, but they're throwing it into their own half here to Edmund Tapsoba, the Burkina Faso international. It's now in the centre circle here with Wirtz running away here from Jim City, who's doing a bit of a man-marking job, I think, on Florian Wirtz here, the Albanian centre-back, who's following him all the way. So that's a little tactical tweak that Gasparini's made. As again a poor pass from Palacios, for Leverkusen. It allows Atalanta to push up the pitch there. Ruggeri, the wing-back, getting forward, being tackled, but thrown for Atalanta deep in the Leverkusen half on this near side. Just a bit shaky, some of these passes from Leverkusen at this Europa League final at the Aviva Stadium. Ruggeri gets the return of the throw-in from Lookman. It's now Ademola Lookman again on the ball to Ederson on this near side. Getting away from Frimpong, running towards the byline. Ederson with the heavy touch, and it's going to have to play for a goal kick for Leverkusen. Good tracking there by Jeremy Frimpong, the wing-back for Bayer Leverkusen. He was also a part of the Leverkusen side who were beaten by Atalanta the only 2 times these teams have met in that Europa League last 16. As the last touch actually came off Frimpong, who was chasing Ederson down there. So it's going to be a corner instead on this near side for Atalanta. And it'll be taken here by Lookman with his right foot. Lookman delivers it. It's a high ball in. Header won at the near post there by Hincapié for Leverkusen. Headed back into the box there by Zappacosta. Headed backwards by Kolasinac to Koopmeiners, and Atalanta keep it on the far side. Ball into Zappacosta, just outside the box. He enters the box and puts a low ball in all the way through. Lookman at the far post! And Atalanta have an early lead. They have been the much better side. And as a reward, they have taken a 1-goal advantage in this final. Ademola Lookman with the goal, who has already suffered 2 final defeats this season. Losing in the Italian Cup final a week ago to Juventus, and also losing the Africa Cup of Nations final at the start of this year with Nigeria. But this could be a chance to change his luck in finals. It's just worked really nicely down the right-hand side. A great ball in from Koopmeiners to find the run of Zappacosta, who ran towards the byline as he was being chased down by Grimaldo, but just put the ball right across the face of goal. Avoided so many players that it went all the way through to that far post where Palacios was caught napping at the far post. Lookman got around him, got in front of the Leverkusen midfielder and planted his left-footed shot into the top left corner. It's been a really strong start from Atalanta, and they have a lead that they will want to protect, and they'll try their best to do so, as Leverkusen will not lie down and let Atalanta take control of this game. They'll try and respond as quickly as possible, but that's a deserved lead, 100%. It's been a brilliant start from the Italian side. They look calm. They look like they are a team who want to go on and take this final and go and win it. And Leverkusen just look a little bit nervy to start. And it's Atalanta with the opening goal, and it's Ademola Lookman. 13th goal of the season. It's just his 3rd in the Europa League, but they've all come in the knockout stages. Did score in that semi-final second leg at home to Marseille, and also scored in the last 16 against Sporting Lisbon. But that's the biggest goal of his Atalanta career, that is for sure. He's in his 2nd season and with the club. Lookman, brought in from Leipzig for €15 million. Of course, he spent 2 years at Everton, spent a loan spell with Leicester a few seasons ago. But now he's found a home in Italy. What a goal that was. You know, he was only from around 8 to 10 yards out from Lookman, but made sure that the goalkeeper had absolutely no chances. Leverkusen have won a free kick on the edge of their box there. Just a bit too aggressive there. Zappacosta with his pressing. And the referee has given a free kick there. And Leverkusen just need to try and figure out how to get themselves in this game. Definitely a foul there on the edge of the box on Florian Wirtz. Just a few nibbles there by Zappacosta. And Leverkusen go long and high down the left-hand side. Headed won by Hien. Headed into the air by Jim City towards Koopmeiners, who heads it on. Which played forward by Xhaka towards Adli, who flicks on into the box, but no one's chasing it for Leverkusen. And into the gloves of Musso it goes, who rolls it out to the left centre-half here. Or the left centre-half area to Ruggeri, who then plays it to Kolasinac. And to Ruggeri, heavy touch, give it away. Ball inside there by Stanisic to Xhaka. Midway inside the Atalanta half with Palacios. Slips it through for Adli. Touch just gets away from him. It can be cleared by Kolasinac. Into the air it goes. Touched forward by Tar. Played forward by Ederson to Lookman. Controls it and goes back to Ruggeri. Then in behind towards Ederson, but it's an interception by Tapsoba. And it'll be a throw in here for Atalanta in the Leverkusen half on this near side. As for Atalanta, they drew their first leg with Marseille in the semi-final. 1-1. Took the lead in the 11th minute with Scamacca, but then the equaliser in the 20th minute from Mbemba for Marseille meant it was all level in the second leg, but they destroyed Marseille at home with that 3-0 win in the second leg. First goal from Lookman, then 2 in the second half by Ruggeri and Torre, who's the striker on the bench tonight. For Atalanta, this is Leverkusen on the ball, halfway line. Xhaka turning away from Koopmeiners, being pulled back by Koopmeiners. Advantage played for Leverkusen. He's work it to this near side to Stanisic. About 15 yards inside the Atalanta half. Goes into the midfield here to Palacios, who was just caught on his toes for that goal. Not quite picking up the runner there of Lookman, who was able to finish for the Italian side. As they're in their own half here, Leverkusen, with Edmund Tapsoba, the number 12. Got Lookman in front of him, but works it to the left here to Palacios. Now Xhaka to Hincapié. Short ball. Hincapié dives in. Takes out the Atalanta player of that Zappacosta. Of De Ketelara. Sorry. Claiming he didn't touch him there, but there was definitely contact there. And I think he's just escaped another booking there. Hincapié. He just caught Charles De Ketelara, the Belgian forward. As mentioned before, on loan from AC Milan, where we bought last season from Club Brugge to go to AC Milan for €35 million, but didn't score in his first season for AC Milan, so was put out on loan to Atalanta, where he's definitely been scoring this season. He has got 14 altogether. As it's a throw in here for Leverkusen on this near side, just couldn't be quite kept in there by Ademola Lookman. And we're now in the Leverkusen half here with Edmund Tapsoba. Now at the left centre-half position, deep in the Leverkusen half with Hincapié, forward to Wirtz, lets it run through for Adli on halfway, back it goes into Wirtz. So now with Stanisic on halfway, in the centre circle, work to the right now to Tapsoba through a pass using Xhaka. Tapsoba wants to go in behind for Frimpong in the box and he finds him, he pulls it across, edge of the box, Grimaldo with the first shot, scuffs it, drops to Wirtz, turns in the box, lays it off for Stanisic, who will let fly towards goal, it deflects and loops into the hands of the goalkeeper of Musso. But that's Leverkusen's first real sight of goal. Really good passing behind there by Tapsoba to find the run of Frimpong, who is absolutely rapid off the mark. Got in behind Ruggeri, and the cutback was good. Fell to the edge of the box to Grimaldo, who with his weaker right foot did not connect at all. And eventually Stanisic had the shot as Tar is battling away in the box with Scamacca, and he beats the Italian forward to the ball. And Leverkusen try and build down the left-hand side here with Hincapié, giving away to Zappacosta. Koopmeiners, strong challenge from Hincapié. Last touch off to Koopmeiners, and that'll be a throw-in for Leverkusen, whose last defeat was almost a year ago to the date. 27th of May, their final defeat, on the final day of the Bundesliga season, last time around. It's Bochum. Scamacca now out to the left here to Lookman on the edge of the box. He enters the box, lays it back off to Scamacca. Left-footed shot, got under it, well over the crossbar. But Atalanta winning it in really good areas. So many times they've won it off Leverkusen inside the German side's half. Xhaka on the edge of the box, just about moves it away from Ederson. It's now to Wirtz around the corner towards Adli, nowhere near him in the end, collected by Ederson. Forward towards Lookman on the edge of the box, just not close enough to the Nigerian winger. And it's now in the midfield here with Palacios, forward to the halfway line to Adli. Got Hean trying to take it off him, but he works it to the right here to Tapsoba, who's forward from centre half, takes on one player, but then tackled by Ederson, and the ball deflects through to the goalkeeper of Juan Musso. And again, Leverkusen trying to get themselves forward here as we're under 20 minutes in, and it's Atalanta who lead in their first ever European final. If Atalanta score one more goal tonight, it'll be their 100th goal scored in all competitions. Leverkusen have already scored 143 goals. What a joke that is. Scoring 89 of them in the Bundesliga, 31 of them in the Europa League. As Hincapié runs out of room on the far side, thrown for Atalanta and taken by De Ketelara to the halfway line here to Davide Zappacosta, whose last Italian appearance was back in September 2018, now at the age of 31, had a failed spell at Chelsea where he found himself back at Atalanta. Spent 4 years here from 2011 to 2015. But was brought in from Chelsea in the August of 2021 to return to the club. As midway inside the Atalanta half, it's Isaac Hien, the centre half. Goes out to the left here to Kolasinac. Lifts it forward beyond the halfway line to Lookman. Tries to chest it inside, but goes backwards instead to Frimpong. 1-2 there with Xhaka. Couldn't quite come off there. Touch wasn't quite right there for Frimpong. The 1-2 was actually with Palacios. Just couldn't quite keep it in there. As Gian Piero Gasperini, the Atalanta head coach, now at the age of 66, would become the oldest winner of this competition. Been at the club since 2016. Before that, he'd spent 2 spells at Genoa. Spent 5 games at Inter Milan in 2011, where he lost 4 of his first 5 games and was then sacked after that, which of course seems very harsh. But after his playing days, Gasperini started his coaching at the Juventus youth system. Spent 9 years there, plying his trade, and then of course went on his own journey to go on to the likes of Inter Milan and Genoa as well. As there's a foul there by Jim City, the Atalanta centre-back, and it'll be yellow card for the captain. Not happy there, but at Jim City, the Albanian centre-half. Just tried to get the ball off Palacios, who played it forward and just touched him. I think a yellow card's a little bit harsh there. I think, yeah, yellow's a bit harsh for me, for Barat Jim City, but the 31-year-old captain is going to have to be careful how he plays now with that yellow card. Late challenge on Palacios. Did catch him, but like I say, I think the yellow was a bit harsh. A free kick for Leverkusen. It's about 40 or so yards out. It's gone into a central area by Grimaldo Xhaka, then out wide towards Wirtz over here, and straight out for a goal kick. Just couldn't quite find the head there of Florian Wirtz. He's now making his 151st Leverkusen appearance. 41 goals, 1 hat-trick for the first team for Leverkusen, Florian Wirtz. And that came off the bench against Werder Bremen just over a month ago. Last month. So it'll be a goal kick here for Atalanta as they lead this final at the moment. Goal kick taken by Musso, controlled by Scamacca to Ederson. Tried to feed it back through for Scamacca, but one for Leverkusen. It's now Wirtz to Xhaka on halfway. Skips away from Hien, but can't get himself in front of Koopmeiners. The last touch off the Atalanta midfielder as he couldn't quite keep it in. Throwing on the far side for Leverkusen. Already taken quite quickly there to Piero Hincapié. He's 22 years of age, the Leverkusen number 3. Taps over, high ball down the right-hand side into the Atalanta half. Headed forward by Kolasinac. Played back forward by Stanisic towards Frimpong. Dealt with again there by Kolasinac, who missed the last 4 games for Atalanta, but he's been able to return for the final tonight. Big plus for Atalanta to have their Bosnian centre-half fit and available. It's now on the far side for Atalanta, given away by De Ketelaere. It's now Palacios in front of the halfway line. Goes to his left here to Hincapié, and then back into Jonathan Tah. It's now Tapsoba. Got Lookman pressing him. He'll go low in towards Adley, whose touch isn't great, and Hien will take it off him. And centre-half will play it out to the right to De Ketelaere. Zappacosta's trying to get forward on the underlap. De Ketelaere still has it. Onto his left foot, into the final third. 1-on-1 with Grimaldo. Has to go back, though, to Jim City. It's now into a central area here to Ederson. Everyone behind the ball for Leverkusen. It's now this near side to Ruggeri. Taking a touch forward. And then playing it back here into Ademola Lookman. Ruggeri makes a run inside, but Lookman will go on his own. Trying to take it down the line. 1-2 with Ruggeri in the end. Now on the byline, Lookman on his right foot, crossing it in. It deflects, it loops in the air, and it's caught by the goalkeeper of Kovar. Couldn't quite find Scamacca there with that cross. Lookman due to the deflection. It's Now with Kovar, the goalkeeper, left-footed lifted ball to the halfway line to Adley. His header is wayward. It gets away from Wirtz. Picked up here by Lookman, 25 yards out. Running in towards the box onto his right foot beyond Xhaka, and he shoots towards goal! Lookman scores again. Arrows it into the bottom right corner. And it's a dream start for the Italian side. And they are ripping Leverkusen to shreds here. Lookman has both. One with his left and now one with his right. Magical footwork on the edge of the box to get beyond Xhaka. And he hit that so powerfully into the bottom right corner. No chance for Mate Kovar in the Leverkusen goal. But again, a cheap giveaway of possession by Leverkusen. Trying to go forward to Adley in the centre circle. His header went back towards goal and couldn't find Wirtz. Straight to Lookman. He went on his own, cutting from that left-hand side onto his stronger right foot. And just wrapped his foot around it into that far corner. What a start for Atalanta. Thoroughly deserved. They have been the better side by quite some distance. And here in Dublin, it's Atalanta 2, Leverkusen 0. What an opening 26.5 minutes to this final for Atalanta, who are looking to win their first cup competition in 61 years. And Lookman is single-handedly bringing this trophy home for Atalanta. It's 2-0. What a goal. But for Leverkusen, it's all their own doing here. The amount of times they've given away the ball in their own half so cheaply. And Atalanta have looked like they could score every single time. And it's 2-0 here. And this is the 8th major European final between an Italian and a German side. It's the first since the 2010 Champions League final where Inter Milan beat Bayern Munich 2-0. And it's the first in the Europa League since 1997 when Schalke won over 2 legs against Inter Milan via a penalty shootout. So it is 1-1 in terms of Italian and German sides winning in finals in the last 2 meetings. The last in the Champions League and the last in the Europa League. Really good from Ademola Lookman. And what a start. But we all know not to write off this Leverkusen side. You'd be very silly to write them off. Unbeaten all season. They've come back from behind so many times, especially in this competition from so many games. They had to do it twice against Karabag home and away in the last 16. They scored late in terms of a leveller against Roma to keep their unbeaten streak alive in the second leg of their semi-final. A 97th minute equaliser for Bayer Leverkusen. And I know we're not at this stage yet in the game, but Bayer Leverkusen have scored 18 times in the 90th minute or beyond. 18 times. That is crazy for a single season. So it shows they never give up. And we're back underway here with Stanisic collecting it for Leverkusen. Midway inside the Atalanta half. It's with Granit Xhaka, left-footed, go from afar. He's very thankful that deflects off an Atalanta defender to one of his own players there, because Xhaka did not catch that strike very well. But Atalanta have it now on here with Xhaka. Forward to Frimpong, lets it run through and gets beyond Kolasinac and puts it across stairwell, intercepted by Hian. Needs to be cleared there by Kolasinac. And behind it goes, I believe, for a goal kick. Like I say, great use of the body there by Frimpong and put it across. Hian got the first touch and Kolasinac tried to clear it. And it was Adley who got across and just almost ran and fell into Kolasinac. Definitely not a foul there on Amin Adley. He went into the Bosnian defender. What a great goal, superb finish. It really was from Ademola Lookman, who now gets his 14th of the season. He's only scored twice in this new year in the league, but he's really come up with some important goals now in the Europa League in the knockout stages. It's now 29 goals for him in an Atalanta shirt in his 2 years at the club, or just under 2 years at the club, joined in August 2022. Big kick from the goal kick for Atalanta by Musso, headed into the header by Hincapié for Leverkusen on the far side, volleyed forward. Then down the left-hand side by Grimaldo, cleared by Jim City, controlled by Palacios, forward to Wirtz on the halfway line, out wide left, can't find Adley, cleared by Jim City. De Ketelaere looking across here for Lookman, who controls it in the centre circle and is barged to the ground by Tapsoba. And that'll be an Atalanta free kick, really well won there by Ademola Lookman. But only 2 Italian sides have won European competition since 2010. As we've already mentioned, Inter Milan in 2010 in the Champions League, and then Roma won the Conference League under Mourinho in 2022. But it's not a matter of fact that Italian sides haven't been getting to finals. They have been. They've just been losing them. Roma made another final last year in the Europa League that time, but lost out to Sevilla. We had Inter Milan losing the Champions League final last season to Manchester City. Is Atalanta, and again in the box, Scamacca trying the volley, taken away from him on the penalty spot by Tapsoba. And of course, Fiorentina lost the Conference League final last season as well. So it wasn't a great year for Italian sides in European finals, but that could change this year as Lookman down the left-hand side got Ruggeri making a run ahead of him, but Lookman will go inside instead to Scamacca. 25 yards out, going for the shot. A little bit greedy. Low drive. Scamacca apologises. His teammates tell him not to worry because he'll have more chances. Gianluca Scamacca, and it rolls straight into the gloves of Mate Kovar for Leverkusen, as they still got their flags waving around behind that goal, where Atalanta have scored twice already. He's in the left-back position with Palacios. Tries to go back to Hincapié, goes behind him. He has to slide and kick the ball out for a throw-in to avoid the to avoid the corner, sorry. And this is not what Leverkusen expected to happen. Of course, they've not had every game their own way. How many goals have they scored late on to come back in games to salvage draws and take last-minute victories? But to go down so early, and being dominated so badly, it's not a great look. Zappacosta with a cross towards the penalty spot, headed away by Stanisic. Now midway inside the Leverkusen half with Kolasinac going out to this near side and playing the ball to Ruggeri. Wants to try and go back inside into a more central area and finds number 13 of Edison. He's now in the centre circle here with Hien, the Swedish centre-half, going out wide to the right now to Jim City. Now into the centre of midfield to Koopmeiners. Back into the Atalanta half here with Hien. Good pressing here from Leverkusen as Hien's been forced to go back to the goalkeeper on the edge of the box to Musso. First time clearance. It's a high ball up towards Scamacca, who will battle with Jonathan Tah. Scamacca flicks on, but no one making a run in behind. And it's back in Leverkusen possession on the edge of the box here with Tapsoba. Tah forward to Palacios, lays it off to Xhaka. Out wide to the right, can't find Frimpong. Intercepted by Kolasinac, who goes back to his goalkeeper of Musso. And it's well won back there by Atalanta, who are just not allowing Leverkusen to get into their rhythm in this game. As Musso's clearance from outside of his box looks for De Ketelaere, but it's well shielded away from him by Hincapié to go to the goalkeeper of Kovar. It's now Hincapié forward to Grimaldo. Back to Hincapié forward. High ball looking towards Frimpong, who's drifted out to his left-hand side and holds it up on the halfway line. Brought to the ground, but the referee continues the play as it's now with Palacios trying to go forward, but Frimpong tripped Koopmeiners off the ball. And that'll be a free kick for Atalanta in the centre circle. Frimpong not happy because Palacios was away there. It was really good hold-up play, in fact, by Frimpong. And as Koopmeiners just tried to get across to Palacios, he was brought to the ground by Frimpong, who just ran across him and tripped him over. Don't think it was a purposeful foul. It wouldn't have been because, Koopmeiners was having to chase Palacios. Palacios was getting away there. It's now Atalanta on the ball with their goalkeeper in the 18-yard box of Musso. Played twice against Leverkusen when these two sides last met in March 2022. Poor clearance, but it bounces off Palacios out wide right for Atalanta. Zappacosta. De Ketelaere on halfway, loses out though in the end to Hincapié. Can Leverkusen try and get going in this final? Ball over the top for Grimaldo. He's in. The goalkeeper's come out. Grimaldo tries to lift it over him, but it goes straight into his chest instead. Really good opening there for Grimaldo. Committed early there, the goalkeeper, whose poor kick put them in that poor position. And Scamacca holds it up on halfway, gets beyond one challenge, and then slides into another. It's late in the centre circle. The referee's got a decision to make, and he's got a yellow card out. Florian Wirtz booked for his reaction. And yellow card for Scamacca for the challenge. It was one of them where the touch wasn't great, so the ball was there to be won. And as a striker, you shouldn't really be sliding in because they very rarely time tackles right. But Scamacca's gone lunging in. Oh, he's just put his studs down. He's gone in with the top of his boot. It's not a great challenge, but yellow card is the right call. If studs were showing, I think that's a different colour card. But the fact he's just kind of tilted his foot for the face of the boot to be the one going into the man, I think saves him there. Studs up, that could be a different story. So a yellow card for Skamaka, and it's Leverkusen on the ball in their own half here with Tapsoba. Poor touch, Adam Lutman's going to try and get onto it, but he can't quite do so. Very fortunate to get away with that there, Tapsoba. As Verts tackle well there by Hien, throwing on the halfway line on this near side for Leverkusen, who just can't get frustrated. Of course, they have a very calm figure on the sidelines of Xabi Alonso, who's looking for his 60th win as Leverkusen boss in his 89th game in charge. Took over in the October of 2022 and lifted them up the table last season to finish in 6th position. 21 points off the top 2 teams last season, but now they're the ones who are well ahead of second place. As in the final third, it's Leverkusen. Plenty of bodies behind the ball for Atalanta. It's with Florian Wirtz finding Xhaka. Everyone behind the ball for Atalanta. Baskamaka. Xhaka lifts it in behind in the box forwards. Florian Wirtz. And just on the edge of the 6-yard box, it's collected in by Juan Musso. But again, those intricate balls in behind the Atalanta defence are starting to come off for Leverkusen. In the last couple of minutes, Grimaldo had an opportunity a couple of moments ago, but his lifted attempt went straight into the goalkeeper's chest, and so did that pass from Xhaka. Skamaka heads on again from a long clearance, but no one chasing it into the box for Atalanta. And Leverkusen now have it back in their own half. Edge of the box with Jonathan Tah, being closed down by Skamaka, goes to the goalkeeper of Kovar. It's now with the left centre-back of Hincapié. Low ball down the line here for Adli. Loses out to Zappacosta, pushing the back. Free kick for Leverkusen. Who have, to be fair, for an unbeaten team, Leverkusen's form hasn't been as tidy as they would like. 4 wins and 4 draws in their last 8. As Frimpong wins a corner, running into the box down the left-hand side, but the tackle from Kolasinac concedes the corner, but followed him all the way there. Kolasinac didn't let Frimpong get back across onto his stronger right foot. But yeah, not that they, it's ridiculous form. They're unbeaten all season, but for an unbeaten team, it's not like they've been winning every game. They have been falling to a couple of draws recently. As Grimaldo outswinging corner to the near post, header won by Ederson. It's now back to the halfway line for Leverkusen here with Frimpong. Plenty of time on the ball for the Dutch wing-back. It's now recycled into the box by Palacios, looking for Jonathan Tah, who tries to win the header. Goes behind him, and he'll try and outmuscle Ruggeri. His shoulder barge puts him to the ground, but Ruggeri can kick that ball out of play for a throw-in. It's now Leverkusen on this near side. Going across into the centre of the park here to Palacios. Got the press of Koopmans behind him, but he works it to Xhaka. Now into Wirtz, who's looking out to the right-hand side. Slide tackle from Ederson. It's brilliant, and the loose ball drops it to De Ketelaere on the right wing position for Atalanta. A little bit isolated as he runs into the final third and plays it inside to Skamaka. Touch into the box. Tries to turn on Tart, but he's tackled in the end by Palacios. Good doubling up there by Leverkusen to get the ball off the big man. And it's Leverkusen back on the ball as we are getting closer to half-time here. 38.5 minutes played. It's Atalanta who are 2 goals to the good. 100% record against Leverkusen when these two sides met over 2 years ago now. Atalanta won home and away. They won at home 3-2 in the first leg of the last 16 tie, and then also won away from home in Germany, 1-0. As Atalanta to look for Frimpong, but it's lost with Ederson winning it back for Atalanta. Kolasinac on halfway. Down this left-hand side to Lukman, trying to get away from Palacios. Turning one way, trying to go backwards. Tackled really well there by Adli. And Xhaka now has it. Out to the right wing to Frimpong. It's just overhit, not by much. And the ball bounces and rolls out for a throw-in for Atalanta. Midway side their own half on this near side. Not a bad idea there by Granit Xhaka. Looking for Jeremy Frimpong, the former Manchester City Youth Academy prospect. Then went from City to Celtic. And then left Celtic in the January of 2021 for £11.5 million to join Leverkusen. Now at the age of 23, Jeremy Frimpong. Skamaka on halfway, can't hold it up against Tapsoba. It's now into Granit Xhaka. In the centre circle to Hincapié. Grimaldo into Xhaka, back to Hincapié. About 10 yards away from the halfway line. Goes into the centre circle again here to Xhaka, time on the ball. Out to the left to Hincapié. Xhaka on the angle behind him, finds him, then goes forward to Wirtz. Back out wide left there to Xhaka. Lifts it in behind down the left channel, looking for the runner Hincapié, can't quite find him, cut out by Zappacosta. Kicked away all as far as Adli, who's come into a bit of a wing-back position here, the Moroccan. It's now back to the halfway line to Xhaka. It's now Jonathan Tah Forward to Grimaldo, then out to the left to Adley, who turns forward, kicked out a play by De Ketelaere. Thrown for Leverkusen, taken already hit. That's it. Now with Jonathan Tah, the captain. The number 4, been at the club since July 2015, Jonathan Tah. Never scored in the Europa League. This is his 45th appearance in the competition. As Leverkusen have been forced backwards here by the Atalanta press. Taps over, going across the 18-yard box, finding Henkapié. Now Xhaka. Forward, it's a low pass towards Adley, who will beat Ruggeri to the ball. And it's now forward by Palacios for the runner Frimpong, who will get there. Frimpong now, again, out to the left-hand side. Outside the box at the moment, no one's in there for Leverkusen. Grimaldo now has it, onto his left foot. Still no one in the box for Leverkusen. It's now Frimpong. Runs into traffic of De Ketelaere, and then cleared in the end by Kolasinac. Scamacca will chase it down the Atalanta left. Tah will get there first. And he'll go to the goalkeeper here of Matej Kovar. By Leverkusen bottled jobs range. I wouldn't say Leverkusen have bottled jobs just yet. Plenty of football still to play, and they are the king of comebacks this season. Hence why they are unbeaten in all competitions. But Atalanta just allowing Leverkusen a bit of possession here. Something not really had. You know, they've had no real control of the game, the German side here. As Wirtz from the left wing cutting his hand onto his right foot, playing across towards Palacios. Overhit pass. Played forward by Kolasinac. Lookman forward to Scamacca. We're now in the Bayer Leverkusen half. On this near side. Scamacca trying the switch with the outside of his right boot, and it's a beautiful ball to De Ketelaere. You got Zappacosta as an overlap in the box. He'll go on his own instead. He'll shoot it towards goal and almost going in at the near post. Well saved in the end by Kovar, who throws out quickly, and then Grimaldo loses out, and it'll be given as a free kick there. Koopmeiners believes he'd won the ball. The referee thinks differently. But De Ketelaere, who's a changed footballer in this Atalanta side compared to his first season at AC Milan, his parent club, went for the shot towards the near post, saved by the goalkeeper, former Manchester United goalkeeper of Matej Kovar. That's now down the left-hand side. It's Adley in the final third. Frimpong trying to get into the box, but it's not even gone anywhere near him in the end. Well collected by Musso. High ball up towards Scamacca, header won by Tah. It's now in the centre circle for Koopmeiners for Atalanta. Lifts it out to the left-hand side towards Lookman. Last touch off taps over, and that'll win Atalanta a throw-in. But currently got a man down here, the Italian side. Their central midfielder of Ederson, the 24-year-old. Went up for the header on Palacios and just landed quite heavily on his back. It's his first ever season playing in European competition for Ederson, the central midfielder who was brought in a couple of seasons ago now from Salernitana. And Atalanta aren't unbeaten in this competition like Leverkusen, of course. Leverkusen are unbeaten in all 12 of their Europa League games. 9 wins in the 3 draws against Karabag, West Ham and Roma in the last 16, in the last 8 and the semi-final. And Leverkusen now looking to become the 4th side to win the trophy unbeaten. Chelsea did in 2018-19, Villarreal did in 2020-2021, and Frankfurt also did in 21-22. The last 2 sides to win this competition unbeaten, and both won on penalties. As we're back underway, Ederson back on the pitch for Atalanta. It is Leverkusen attack on the far side. Grimaldo going back here to Xhaka, trying the 1-2 ball in the box. No one's there to find. No one's there to get on the end of that pass. As we're edging closer to half-time, it's Atalanta who lead 2-0 here in Dublin. And they've been brilliant so far. Leverkusen haven't got into their stride at all. Not giving away the ball as much as they were at the beginning, but, you know, it's 2-0 now because of that poor start. It's on the far side of Zappacosta. Can't quite keep the ball in there. So 2 minutes added on. Leverkusen throwing. And it's with Grimaldo. Now Xhaka. Everyone behind the ball for Atalanta. Scamacca. It's Grimaldo. Forward to Wirtz. Back to Grimaldo. Skips beyond the challenges Zappacosta. And he can keep the ball in. Grimaldo lifts it into the box. Headed away by Kolasinac. He finds Adley. Poor touch. Cleared by Ederson. It's now with Xhaka from afar. He's going to strike it towards goal. It's always going wide. Not his greatest attempt there by Granit Xhaka, making his 49th appearance of the season. Presuming he'll make appearance number 50 in their cup final at the weekend against Kaiserslautern. Still 2 more games to be played for Atalanta. At home to Torino at the weekend, and then finishing at home again the week after. It's Fiorentina. So we've got a minute left. They've added on time. That shot from Xhaka wide, about 30 yards from goal. He's asking a lot of himself to get that into the back of the net. Musso takes the goal kick. Controlled by Scamacca. Looks for Lookman and finds him here. Lookman on the left wing. Laying it off to Ruggeri. Just goes behind him, but pokes it backwards towards Kolasinac. He'll just kick the ball away. Not taking any risks there, and I understand why. Right before half-time, not wanting to give any cheap chances away. Wasn't a great pass by Ruggeri. Pretty short by the Italian wing-back. It's now Stanisic with the throw in for Leverkusen. Gets the return from Frimpong. And Stanisic wants to switch to Grimaldo. That's a great pass. Has it got too much on it, though? It has. Grimaldo slides to try and keep it in, but somehow that pass from Stanisic had too much on it. Really good idea from the Bayern Munich loanee. But not to be there. 15 seconds left of this first half. Zappacosta with the throw in, volleyed into the Leverkusen half by Koopmeiners. It just hangs in the air. Scamacca can't control it, headed forward by Hincapié. Free kick there for Atalanta though, because Jonathan Tah was holding Scamacca illegally. And I'd be surprised if we even get time for this free kick, if I'm going to be completely honest. And we will not have time for the free kick. It was quite away from goal anyway, about 10 yards inside the Leverkusen half. But as the half-time whistle is blown, it is Atalanta 2, Leverkusen 0 after the opening 47 minutes, which has consisted of the first half here, where Leverkusen lead, and straight away they were on the front foot and they looked really dangerous. Their first goal by Ademola Lookman scored in the 12th minute of play. Worked down the right-hand side, a ball into Zappacosta from Koopmeiners. Zappacosta found himself towards the byline, pulled the ball across goal. It avoided everyone at the near post and in the centre of the box. It fell to the far post where Palacios fell asleep. Lookman beat him to the ball and he arrowed it into the top left corner of the goal and gave Leverkusen a comeback that was already needed to happen, but it's even bigger of a comeback that's needed now, because Lookman made it 2 in the 26th minute. A poor header backwards by Adley, who's playing up front for Leverkusen. Tried to find Wirtz, fell instead to Lookman, who on the left-hand side, cutting onto his right foot, skipping beyond the challenger Xhaka, and absolutely thunderbolting the ball into the bottom right corner, wrapped his foot around it. No chance for the Leverkusen goalkeeper. And Leverkusen have started to slightly grow into the game. They've dominated the possession, but no real clear-cut chances. We've had a Grimaldo attempted lob, which barely got off the ground. Other than that, it's not been a lot to cheer about for Leverkusen, a lot to ponder, a lot to try and figure out at half-time for Xabi Alonso, as here in Dublin, we've got a bit of a shock result at the moment. It's Atalanta 2, by Leverkusen 0. Who would have seen that coming? Leverkusen unbeaten, but currently being beaten as it stands in this final. Atalanta again getting it right. You know, who is the danger man for Bayer Leverkusen? It's Florian Wirtz, their number 10, and he's been man-marked this game by Berat Jimcity, who does have to be careful because he is on a booking, the 31-year-old, but Florian Wirtz has barely been able to get into the game. A lot of the Leverkusen passes in behind have not been able to find the runs of the likes of Wirtz and Frimpong with his pace, and Amin Adli as well. It's been a really well played tactical plan from Atalanta and their head coach Gian Piero Gasperini, who is looking, by the way, to win his 200th game in charge of Atalanta. What a way to cap off your 200th win with a club, to win a Europa League final, to win a club's first ever European trophy. And they've got a 2-goal lead at the moment, but they will know for sure that this game is nowhere near done. Leverkusen have been doing comebacks all season long. But Atalanta haven't lost many games this season as well. in the Europa League. Just the one defeat, which came at home to Liverpool in the quarter-final second leg, but they got themselves a 3-goal lead in that one as they went to Anfield and won 3-0, and that's what really gave them confidence in Europe to get themselves to this final, because if you can go to Anfield, a very difficult place to play, and you go on and win the way they did, 3-0, that will allow you to go anywhere and face anyone, and you'll have faith in yourself and your teammates that you can go and get a result. And again, they went away to Marseille, picked up a very respectable draw, took them back to their home ground and beat them 3-0. And for Leverkusen, they got themselves comfortable in the semi-final first leg, winning 2-0. And then it was Roma to peg them back to 2-2. 2 penalties by Paredes, but 2 late goals gave Leverkusen their lead goal. The first one by Mancini, own goal, with 8 minutes to play, and then wrapped up the draw to keep the unbeaten streak going in the 97th minute through Josip Stanisic. So both of these teams having their own different journeys in this competition to get themselves to this final. And interestingly enough, both of these sides played their last 16 opponent in the group stage, which I just don't like. I mean, you can't help a draw. It is what it is. It's numbers on a ball pulled out of a, what do you even call that? I don't even know. It's not a hat, is it? No, that's old school, literally pulling out of a hat. But Atalanta had Sporting Lisbon in their group, finished above them. So Sporting Lisbon finished second and had to go through the extra playoff round. And Sporting Lisbon won that. So Sporting got into the last 16 and then drew Atalanta. So in the group stage, it was a 1-1 draw at Atalanta, but Atalanta beat Sporting away 2-1 in the group stage. And then in the last 16, they were able to beat them 3-2 on aggregate. And then, of course, beating Liverpool 3-1 and then Marseille 4-1. Then for Leverkusen, they had Karabag in their group stage, who they then faced in the last 16. They beat them home and away in the group stage, and then also just about beat them at home in the second leg of the last 16 game, because the first leg against Karabag was 2-2. Again, 2-0 down, had to come back and get that draw 2-2. And then they were able to win 3-2 the second leg with a brace from Patrick Schick in the 93rd minute and the 97th minute of normal time. Absolute scenes for Leverkusen. They've had plenty of scenes this season with all their late goals. But it is the Italian side with the lead at the moment, trying to win their first major trophy since 1963. For Leverkusen, the Bundesliga title was their first major trophy since 1993, the German Cup, where they beat Hertha Berlin. It's all work for Leverkusen to do at half-time, with Xabi Alonso, who'd never faced Italian sides in his managerial career until the semi-final stage, where they were drawn against Roma and got beyond Daniele De Rossi's Roma side, and then, of course, again now in the final up against Atalanta. And Xabi Alonso's only lost 2 games in the Europa League as a manager. It was in his first game at home to Monaco in February 2023 they lost, and then his most recent loss in this competition was away to Roma last season in the semi-final second leg, where unfortunately that knocked them out, and Roma went on to the final and were beaten by Sevilla. So they've definitely come on this season, Leverkusen, in terms of mentality. They were beaten in the first round of the Cup last season as well to SV Elversberg, 4-3, a German team in the second tier. But they're in the final now of the Cup. They're in the final of the Europa League, and they've won the Bundesliga. But at the moment, Lookman is completely ripping up their perfect season at the moment. He's always had the quality, Ademola Lookman, now at the age of 26, a former England under-19, under-20 and under-21 international, now represents Nigeria. But his first 2 seasons at Atalanta have been brilliant. In his first season, he got 15 in all competitions, and now this season he's on 14 with these 2 goals he's got tonight. Can Leverkusen do it? In terms of if we're looking at a tactical point of view, if we want to try and get in depth in this game, what's not worked for Leverkusen is not having an out-and-out striker up front. They've had no one to aim for to try and hold up the ball. Adley, who's trying to play a bit of a false nine role up front, has barely been able to get into the game. And they've got 4 technically strikers who they can bring on here, Leverkusen. They've got Patrick Schick, who's the main reason why they're here with that late brace against Karabag in the last 16. They've got Victor Boniface, who was brought in the summer from Union Saint-Gilloise, and he has got 21 goals in all competitions. So you've got to feel like Victor Boniface has got to be called upon at some point in the game. They've also got Borja Iglesias, who they brought in on loan from Betis. Hasn't really got going in a Leverkusen shirt, but he's still an option, the 31-year-old Spaniard. And then also a returning Adam Hosek as well, the young Czech forward. Got 2 goals in the league this season, and he's got 2 in the Europa League, a brace in the group stage against Molde. So they've got loads of striking options who they've got to look to bring on, because using Adley as a striker tonight hasn't worked against the Atalanta back 3, and it's a very strong back 3, very physical, very tall, and they don't really have a lot of pace, in all fairness. So they've kind of got to be either aggressive in the challenge to make sure they either win the ball or take the man out and commit a foul, as long as it's not a yellow, or they give them a bit of space and just make sure they have an extra yard on the attack. So if they try and knock it past them, they've got a bit of a head start. So I feel like if they can try and get someone up front, like a Schick or a Boniface or even a Iglesias, a tall centre forward who they've got plenty of, get them holding the ball up, taking one of those centre backs out of the game and trying to link up with runners in behind, try to find Frimpong in behind and Wirtz in behind, because them two, Frimpong and Wirtz, will outpace that Atalanta back 3 in behind every day of the week. It's just about getting it to someone who can hold it up and play. Even if it's a bounce pass, give it into the striker, they give it back, and then they send it over the top. There's different ways you can do it. But I'll be absolutely gobsmacked if Xabi Alonso makes no changes at half-time. Spreading the word around, that's brilliant. If you do want to share the channel out, I'm pretty sure you can do. I'm not sure how, but I'm sure you can share. Yeah, I think next to the like button it says share. So if you want to share it to any friends who might be in need of a commentary for this game, then let them know. I don't even know if this game is being live streamed on YouTube by TNT Sport. It's usually streamed free, the European finals, or it has been in recent times, but I don't think it is this season. That's surprising. Maybe when it was BT Sport, they showed the European finals on YouTube for free, but now it's TNT, isn't it? It's not BT, it's TNT, so maybe they've decided to not show the finals live on YouTube for free anymore. That's a bit of a shame, it must be said, but what can you do? But the second half will be getting underway in a couple of minutes' time now, so make sure you don't go anywhere. Make sure you stick around, as we'll have second half live commentary for you, like we just covered in the first half. And it should be a cracking second half. First half was really good, but we're gonna have an attempted Leverkusen comeback here. So let's see if they can complete it or not. But it is 51 games unbeaten for Bayer Leverkusen. It is quite the unbeaten run that they've been able to have put together this season. Of course, they are guaranteed to finish the Bundesliga season unbeaten because the German league season finished at the weekend. And with being unbeaten, of course, becoming invincible, Bayer Leverkusen joined Arsenal and Juventus as the only champions to complete an unbeaten league campaign since the turn of the century in the European top 5 leagues. So They are up there with Arsenal's invincible season in 03-04. Then Juventus went unbeaten in their Serie A campaign in 2011-2012. So alongside some very famous and very strong European sides there. I'm just really intrigued to see if Xabi Alonso makes any of these changes that I feel like he might make. And if he doesn't, then he's obviously trusting in what he's began with, but it'd be a little bit silly to not make a change here with, as we mentioned, the 4 possible different strikers he could bring on to try and flip this game around. And how fun is that? It's actually going to be Atalanta to make a change. I'm not sure who's coming off. It might be Sead Kolasinac, and it is. It's going to be the Bosnian left centre-half of their back 3, and he's coming off. Sead Kolasinac had actually missed the previous 4 games injured, so it might be a bit of a follow-through, from the injury that he's trying to recover from. But it's definitely not a bad replacement for him. Giorgio Scalvini, the number 42, will take his place. He's a 20-year-old centre-half. Scalvini didn't play any of the 2 legs against Liverpool in the quarter-final injured, but he has started 3 of the last 4 league games, so definitely fresh and ready to come on here. Scalvini, the 6'4" centre-half. So just one change at half-time, and funnily enough, it's come for Atalanta. Kolasinac off injured for Scalvini, and Leverkusen have made no changes at half-time, so Xabi Alonso going to stick with what he's got out there for the time being. As we are back underway here in Dublin, is Leverkusen kick right to left towards their support, and Atalanta kicking left to right towards their support. They've travelled all the way to Dublin here. There's Jonathan Tah, works it to Hincapié. We're in the Leverkusen half here with the captain Tah to the edge of the box to Tabzoba. Forward to Frimpong on the far side. He's got Ruggeri on his back, tries to turn and go, but it's the last touch off Ruggeri. And that'll be a throw-in for Leverkusen, which they try and take quickly, and they do so, finding Granit Xhaka. And it's now with the goalkeeper of Kovar, who's going to go long here for Leverkusen, clips it forward towards the halfway line. And they have made a change. They've not said anything about it. Boniface is on, so they have made a change. Do apologise. So Leverkusen have made a sub. I don't know who's come off, though. They've not mentioned it. As Boniface, 1-2 with Grimaldo, but tackled by Scalvini. And it's now Atalanta on the ball. Koop Miners taking too long to release it. He gets helped out by his teammate of De Ketelaere. And it'll be a throw-in for Atalanta. Last touch there off Palacios. I haven't got... Oh, no, it's Leverkusen throw instead. I'm surprised by that. I thought it was a touch off a Leverkusen man last. Who have they brought off? I have no idea who's come off. They have not said a word. It's Josip Stanisic. So the right wing back is off. So that means Frimpong, who's currently on right wing, as you can see on screen, on the away team sheet. I know they're both neutral, but Atalanta's class as the home team. Frimpong will drop back into right wing back, and Boniface will go up front, and Adley will go into like a right wing, left wing position. There's not really a stick position for Wirtz and Adley. They kind of float around. They can either go on the left, they can find themselves on the right. They can mix it up. So there is a change for Leverkusen. Stanisic off for Boniface. He's got 21 goals this season in all competitions. He's got 5 in the Europa League, 4 in the group stage. Didn't play any minutes against Roma in the semi-final. First leg and second leg, Boniface. But they didn't need him, of course. Got themselves through to the final without him. Even though he was on the bench for the 2 games. But wasn't called upon by Xabi Alonso. As we're now with Leverkusen on the ball, far side, Frimpong. Pass goes behind Adley, collected by Hean, who can just about work it out of play for a throw-in on halfway for Leverkusen. Couldn't quite get around Florian Wirtz there. So it's now Leverkusen in possession, far side, in their own half. Xhaka facing his own goal, finding Hincapié, who'll be closed down here by De Ketelaere. Lifted ball down the left-hand side, it's wildly overhit. And it's a throw-in for Atalanta this time on the near side. Just nothing coming together here for Leverkusen. And the more time ticks away, the closer to the trophy Atalanta will get. Zappacosta being told here to try and speed up the play, taking his time with the throwing. As Atalanta have got it with their right centre-back here of Jim City. Goes across to the substitute centre-half of Scalvini. Ruggeri forward to Lookman. It's now Ruggeri forward to Scamacca and then lays it off for Lookman, who's made a run forward. On the left-hand side, it's brilliant football. Lookman in the box, left-footed, tries to square it, deflects back to himself. Lookman goes for the second ball in the box. It's deflected away. Well, as far as Ruggeri tries to go across, and he finds Wirtz instead. Not a coloured shirt he was looking for. And Wirtz will continue running forward, but he's been tackled there by Koopmeiners, just away from the centre circle. Koopmeiners gets it out to the left wing here to Lookman, and Koopmeiners has continued his run, and he finds him. Koopmeiners left side of the box, he gets it across the goal, and it's well cleared by Hincapié, sending it wide and over the crossbar. Could have been a tap in there for De Ketelaere. Really good defending, good run there by Koopmeiners to win the ball and find Lookman and then continue the run forward. It's going to result in an Atalanta corner kick here. If they score a third, the Italian side, that's when you might start really believing that this cup final could go their way. Just a week ago, they lost the Coppa Italia to Juventus, so they could have been on for a double this season, Atalanta, but I'm sure they'll just take a Europa League, their first ever European title. It's going to be Lookman with a right-footed in-swinger to the near post. Header won, though, by Boniface. Straight to Ruggeri. Returns it to Lookman, the corner taker. 1-on-1 here with Adley. Gets it inside to Jim City, the centre-half, who crosses low. It's deflected and cleared there by Palacios. It's now with Florian Wirtz on the right wing. Plays it back inside towards Adley. Intercepted by Jim City. Loses out to Adley. And it's now Florian Wirtz down the line for Frimpong, who will chase it down. He'll beat Ederson to it. Frimpong, is he tripped, or did Ederson get the ball? It's going to be a corner. Ederson got the ball. Frimpong, no complaints. Had to get across there, Ederson, and do something. Because when Frimpong gets going, he is very difficult to stop and slow down. So we've just had a corner for Atalanta. Now we've got one for Leverkusen on the far side. It is going to be an in-swinger from Grimaldo. Cross goes in. It's a deeper one towards Jonathan Tah, who can't win the header. Header away in the end by Jim City, and then volleyed by Ruggeri. It's going to go straight out for a Leverkusen throw-in on this near side. About midway inside the Atalanta half, as the German side can try and keep up some kind of pressure here. It's Palacios having to go back there, caught though as he played it. And that'll be a free kick for Atalanta, exactly where the throw-in was taken. Palacios just caught there by Zappacosta. Rightly given free kick by the referee. Istvan Kovacs. It's going to be another chance for a delivery for Alejandro Grimaldo. The Spaniard brought in on a free from Benfica. Collected 13 assists in the league this season. Alejandro Grimaldo. And how they could do with him providing an assist here. Grimaldo delivers it. It's a low one. It's volleyed at the near post by Koopmeiners into the air. Headed up into the sky again by Xhaka. Headed away by De Ketelaere in the end. Controlled by Lookman on the left wing. Facing his own goal and going back here to Ruggeri. It's down the edge of the box with Scalvini. It's now with Scalvini again. Right-footed high ball up towards De Ketelaere, who can just nod it down perfectly for Lookman. He's got the overlap of Ruggeri. Goes to the halfway line to Ederson. It's now a switch out to the right to Jim City. Brilliant touch in front of him. Zappacosta's there to support and he finds him. Koopmeiners. Beyond one challenge, then playing it forward to the Ketelaere, then into the space towards Jim City, forward from centre-half, which cut out in the box by Hincapié, and Grimaldo's clearance blocked off by De Ketelaere. And it'll be a throw-in for Leverkusen right next to the corner flag on the near side. Grimaldo, clearance by Hincapié, touch forward by Adley, looking for Boniface, who's using his body, and he works it to Adley, and then through for Wirtz. Is there enough on the pass? No, there isn't. Ederson cleans up again. And clears up the field for Atalanta, but controlled on halfway by Palacios. Pulled back there by Koopmeiners by the shirt. Free kick for Bayer Leverkusen. Taken quickly to Tah on the halfway line. Across to his left there to Hincapié. Forward to Grimaldo. Finding Palacios. Now to Adley. Verts to Palacios. Forward to Boniface. Good tackle there by Scalvini. Stepping in and getting the touch away. Scamacca just about works a 1-2 with De Ketelaere, but a good slide challenge. And Capie wins it for Leverkusen in the Atalanta half. Now in a central area with Verts. Into the space for Tapsoba from centre-back. Edge of the box. Will he shoot? He'll lay it off to his right instead to Frimpong. 1-on-1 with Ruggeri. Frimpong goes to Tapsoba on the edge of the box again. Across to Xhaka. On once more to Hincapié. It's now with Grimaldo. Looking for the run of Hincapié. Finds him. Tries to cross. He does cross it, but it comes off De Ketelaere. And it's going to be a corner kick on the near side for Leverkusen. A goal for the German side. Completely flips this game on its head. It's taking it short. It's on the edge of the box to Palacios. Verts goes for the cross, but it comes off Koopmeiners, and that will be a throw-in for Leverkusen. A little bit of a waste there for the German side. As they've worked it back here to Xhaka. He's got options to his right. He'll find Tapsoba. Not being pressed at the moment on the edge of the box. Atalanta have plenty of bodies in the box. The defend here as the ball through for Frimpong has been dummied by Boniface. Frimpong couldn't get on the touch. Seen out for a goal kick. In the end, Atalanta defending this very well. And it looks like they're going to have to make another change here, Atalanta. I'm going to have a guess this is not going to be one that's tactical. It's got to be forced, hasn't it? Surely. Don't really want to disrupt too much of the flow in this Atalanta side. They've already been forced into one change at half-time with Kolasinac off for Scalvini. But interestingly enough, Atalanta have won their last 5 Serie A games in a row. And in each of the 5 games, they've scored exactly 2 goals, which I found just rather bizarre. You know, no one goal, not a 1-0 win, no 3-1s or 3. All won by scoring 2. And scoring 2 has been enough for them in their last 5 league games. So, could it be the same story tonight? Foul there on Hincapié. Slight arm in the face from Scamacca. Nothing too serious, though. Hincapié slowly back to his feet. That's here at the Aviva Stadium in Dublin. Still Atalanta 2, Leverkusen 0. Not making that change yet, Atalanta, but they were definitely readying it up. I think Pasalic, the central midfielder, was the one being readied as Palacios has overhit a passing behind for Leverkusen down the left-hand side. Another goal kick for Atalanta, who have lost 10 games all season in the Serie A. Atalanta, and 7 of them have been away from home. They've been pretty strong at home, just the 3 defeats and the 12 wins at home. As they're going to make a change, I presume it's got to be tactical. Maybe, really, get that midfield as compact as possible. So one of the forwards, Charles De Ketelaere, on loan from AC Milan for the season. He's had a really good game. I've been impressed with him. But tactically, he needs to be sacrificed, and he's been substituted off for Mario Pasalic, who spent 6 years of his career at Chelsea. Went on multiple loan spells. This is appearance 249 for Pasalic. Joined permanently in 2020 from Chelsea, but spent the 2 previous years on loan at Atalanta before it was made permanent. Back underway. Verts winning it for Frimpong. Final third. Crosses, deflects into the near post. Easy collection for the goalkeeper of Juan Musso. Frimpong's put some decent deliveries in, mainly first half, but that cross was dealt with by Ederson, who got himself across it, came off him, and like I say, into the hands of Musso, the goalkeeper. Kicks it out towards the right-hand side, beyond halfway. Headed won, though, by Hincapié. Headed back forward by Koopmeiners. Headed into the air again there on the halfway line by Pasalic, but he just shoved Palacios in the back, so free kick given on halfway for Leverkusen, taken quickly. Played across to Xhaka. It's now to Tapsoba on the right-hand side. He's got 2 options of Frimpong and Verts. Uses Frimpong. Back into Xhaka it goes. Just really compact at the moment, Atalanta, and you don't blame them because they don't want to give anything away at the moment with his 2-goal lead. It's on the halfway line with Hincapié towards this near side for Leverkusen. Forward to Grimaldo. Now Xhaka around the corner. Can only find the right boot of Jim City. Volleys it into the air up towards Scamacca. Tar wins the header. Flicked on again by Palacios. Chested down by Boniface. Plays it to his right to Verts. Can he find the pass? He takes on Scalvini, or tried to, but he was blocked off by the young Italian centre-half, and that'll be a free kick hit for Leverkusen. Won by Florian Wirtz. About 50 yards away, this free kick, so they're going to have to play it short and try and build up here. Xhaka forward to Boniface. Lays it off of Wirtz, 22 yards out. Boniface in the box, tries to find him, can't control it. Runs through, though, for Adli. Ball across, tipped away from the goalkeeper. Frimpong on the volley and over the bar. 12 yards out, left-footed, just a bit behind him for Frimpong. Difficult chance, but that's gone high into the stands behind the goal. Adli with a fierce ball across. Had to be parried away by the goalkeeper of Musso. Straight to Frimpong, came at him rather quickly and couldn't quite get his left foot over the ball. And over the top of the bar it went. It still remains 2-0 to Atalanta with just over half an hour to play. Goal kick taken up towards Scamacca. Goes over his head and Hincapié. And it bounces through to the goalkeeper of Kovac, who throws it out to the right centre half. A taps over. It's a really good throw, that. And he can get himself beyond the halfway line. Just stops himself. And finds Palacios. Goes to the left here to Xhaka. It's now furthest wide left. That's Adli. Touches him great, but he just gets there ahead of Zappacosta. Feeds it through towards Hincapié. But the referee will pull it back for a free kick there. Hincapié just couldn't quite get to Adli's touch. And Zappacosta's booked, and he takes that because it was definitely a yellow card. Adli's touch wasn't great. That's why Zappacosta tried to get there, but Adli was just about able to recover his poor touch of a pass down the line and was completely clattered into by Zappacosta. And a free kick eventually given to Leverkusen. As we're coming up to half an hour left, it'll be a cross from the left wing here by Grimaldo. Wirtz running down the line as an option, but Grimaldo puts it straight into the box. Header won by Scalvini. It's out to the Leverkusen right now, where it'll be chased down by Granit Xhaka. It's now to Palacios in the middle. Everyone behind the ball for Atalanta. Grimaldo. To this near side to Hincapié. Back across to Grimaldo, who's allowed to bring it forward. Space to run into. His pass is wayward on the edge of the box. Cleared by Scalvini. Controlled by Scamacca. Out to the right wing back of Zappacosta. Midway side his own half here. Clears it long and high. Looking for a switch towards Lookman. And it'll bounce away from Xhaka and Lookman. And it'll be a free kick for Atalanta. Lookman on the halfway line being pulled back by Xhaka. Xhaka just grabbing the left arm of Lookman, which allowed him to, struggle to get towards the ball. It's taken short for Atalanta. Back in their own half here with Hean, the central centre-back. It's now into Koopmeiners in the midfield. And the captain Jim City, right centre-back, switches it to the left centre-half of Scalvini. Good pass, controlled well. Played forward to the halfway into Lookman. Back heel to Scamacca. Lays off for Ederson, then tries to get it back out wide to Lookman. Not a bad attempt, but Ederson was just off balance as he tried to play the pass. It's now back with Leverkusen, with Tar having to clear it up the field, but not very far. Straight into the centre circle here with Ederson, trying to wrap it through there with a ball towards, I think that was Koopmeiners. But he's rushed it, and Gasparini's not happy with it. Bit of a waste there. As Leverkusen still trying to break through this Atalanta side. Well, they're trying to anyway. It's now Leverkusen on the ball. Touch isn't great there. But it's a pull back by Koopmeiners on Xhaka. Free kick for Leverkusen midway inside their own half here. Xhaka, big kick forward, a curling ball out to the left wing towards Boniface, loses out to Hean in the end. His header isn't great. He's pushed in the back though as he tried to win another header. And it's a free kick there. Adli, it's just not been his game so far. Surprised he's still on the pitch in all fairness. I mean, Adli, they have got players to bring on ahead of him. They've got Nathan Teller on the bench and Jonas Hoffman as well. Free kick for Atalanta, kicked forward, it's high up towards Scamacca. Can't win the first header, but will bring it down for the second. Leading it in towards Pasalic. Tackle by Tar. Gives it to Koopmeiners, though, who is tripped by Xhaka. Not seen as a foul, though, by the referee, interestingly enough. And Leverkusen set themselves away. Wirtz balling behind. Down the left wing for Boniface. just outside the box for the moment. Tight angle onto his right foot, tries to square it, but straight to Ederson in the box for Atalanta, who can clear it. Straight up towards Scamacca, but header won by Hincapié. Now just in front of the centre circle is Xhaka on the ball, allowed to bring it forward, and plays it out to the right here to Florian Wirtz. He's got Tapsoba as an option. Wirtz will try and go on his own for now. Edge of the box, left-footed, lifts it into the far post towards Grimaldo, but it's well held by the goalkeeper, Musso. And again, Atalanta defend well. Leverkusen struggling at the moment, but I just feel if they get one, that will really give them the confidence to try and push on and go and get an equaliser if possible. But Gian Piero Gasperini, the Atalanta head coach, is looking to become the 9th Italian coach to win this competition. The Europa League, or when it used to be called the UEFA Cup. And will become the oldest manager to win this. Age 66. Was born in the January of 1958. Retired in football in 1993. Where, as mentioned before, he went on and started his coaching career at the Juventus Academy. It's just got a bit of treatment here for the goalkeeper, Juan Musso, who was just caught slightly as Grimaldo tried to get on the end of that Florian Wirtz cross. So drop ball by the referee, given back to the goalkeeper. And it will be Atalanta to start from within their 18-yard box. The goalkeeper is going to kick it out of his hands, up into the Leverkusen half, but nowhere near Scamacca. Header forward by Hincapié, helped on by Palacios. Can't quite reach Boniface. Now Koopman's on halfway, lifting it over towards Scamacca. Header won by Tar, headed back forward by Ederson. Scamacca heads it out wide left to Lookman, beats Wirtz to it. Lookman trying to go forward, plays it into space for Ruggeri in the final third towards the corner flag, turning backwards here, keeping it away from Frimpong and going into the middle here to Ederson. Across to his central midfield partner, Koopmaners. Jim City, poor ball to the edge of the box towards Scamacca, dealt with by Leverkusen, but given away by Palacios. Not his greatest touch, and it's now Zappacosta in the right wing position towards the byline, tries the cross, comes off Palacios, and it bounces out for a throw-in for Atalanta, right next to the corner flag on this near side. Exactly where they'll want the ball here with 25 minutes to play. Only lost 2 in their last 12 games in all competitions, Atalanta. Those 2 losses were in the cup final to Juventus last week, and then their quarter-final second leg defeat to Liverpool, which didn't mean anything because they'd got a 3-goal lead at Anfield, which was a performance which took many by surprise. I don't think Atalanta were that respected over here in England. Thought that would have been an easier draw for Liverpool, but they were played off the park in that first leg. As Leverkusen win it in that corner where Atalanta had the ball, but they've won it back. Flick forward into the box towards Scamacca, cleared. Bit of a slice by Hincapié. And it's out for a throw-in midway inside the Leverkusen half here for Atalanta. It'll be taken by Zappacosta. Thrown forward towards Pasalic. Loses out in the end, and it's now Leverkusen playing it forward to Wirtz. Bit of space to run into here. Running behind from Frimpong, but well cut out by Scalvini. Just inside his own half. And now Pasalic works it to the left here to Ederson. Out wide once more to Lookman, who can get away from Tapsoba. He's been tripped by him. And that'll be a free kick and a yellow card for the Leverkusen centre-back. And just as Leverkusen look like they're going to get in behind, they're quickly defending against Lookman on the left-hand side. And Tapsoba's had to trip him over. Lookman's feet has just been too much for every Leverkusen player's run at tonight. So free kick for Atalanta. Koopmaners from the left wing will cross it in. It's deep towards Heehan. Can't quite win the header. And it'll run through for, I'm presuming, an Atalanta throw-in. I think it took a nick off a Leverkusen head in the box there. As we've got just a quarter of the game to go. And we're going to get a change. It's going to be a double change for Leverkusen as they try and swing this final back towards their own favour here. Central midfielder of Ezequiel Palacios. He was in that Argentina World Cup squad that won it in Qatar. He'll be replaced by Robert Andrich, who was playing in the German third tier just 6 years ago. He has made the preliminary Germany squad for the Euros, the home Euros. And Alejandro Grimaldo will be substituted off for Adam Hosek, the Czech forward. So definitely attacking changes. Wing back off for a striker. Because something's got to give for Leverkusen if they want to get back in this game. And they broke away here. Verts out to the left to Boniface. He's got Adley overlapping to his left. Boniface drives inside and plays it across again to Andrich, who's just come on. Misplaces his touch, but he runs through for Frimpong. It's now back here to Andrich. And now Leverkusen can try and camp in the Atalanta half here and attempt to make something work, make something happen. It needs to happen sooner rather or later. It's on this near side with Adley. Back to Hincapié, about 15 yards in front of the halfway line. And goes back to the halfway line to Jonathan Tah, the centre-back. Xhaka tries to go forward, but he's been cut out by Koopman. He'll chase it, and he'll win the header on Tah, but it falls straight to Tah. Couldn't quite find Skamaka, but really good midfield work there by Koopminers. As the Atalanta press is rather high at the moment. Tapsoba forced to go long into the Atalanta half towards Hosek. Can't beat Jim City to it. That's brilliant defending. The ball out left to Lookman, who's going to run at Tapsoba, who is on a yellow as well. Lookman still has it towards the final third. Andrich coming across as well, but Tapsoba tackles him this time. Gets the ball cleanly. Tries to play to Andrich. Deflects off Lookman back to Tapsoba, who eventually finds Xhaka on the edge of the box. And Atalanta try and go forward. Verts pulled back there by Koopminers. That should be a yellow card. And it will be for Toon Koopminers, who's had Premier League interest now. Liverpool and Chelsea interested in bringing in the 26-year-old. Was of interest of Aston Villa in the last summer just gone, but now his interest of Liverpool and Chelsea this summer came through AZ Alkmaar. Leverkusen already given it away. Scalvini back to his goalkeeper and Musso. Frimpong trying to close it down, but Musso clears it. Takes a slight nick off Frimpong. Controlled though in the middle of the pack by Zappa Costa. Lifts it to the left to Lookman, who goes beyond the halfway line now. Ruggeri getting forward from left wing back. He tries to switch Lookman to the right side. It's not a bad idea, but overhit towards Pasalic. Throwing for Leverkusen. Less than 20 minutes to go now of the 90. Still 2-0 to Atalanta. And I'm ready for this to come back and bite me, but I know they've had the mentality of monsters this season, Leverkusen, to be unbeaten, but I can't see them getting this back to 2-2 in all honesty, but we've seen crazier things happen. As it's now midway inside the Leverkusen half with Xhaka. Goes to the left centre-back of Hincapié. Forward to Adley, being tracked though by Zappa Costa. It's now Xhaka, lifted ball down the line towards Hosek, who will nod it into Boniface. And Boniface tries to go down the left-hand side himself, but been taken away from him by Pasalic. And it's now Musso, who just about gets rid as Frimpong was closing him down. Headed on by Zappa Costa. Straight to Xhaka though on halfway. It's back in Leverkusen possession. Atalanta sitting deep though. Now with the right centre-back, Tapsoba on that far side. Goes across to Xhaka. It's now to the near side to Adley. One-on-one here with Pasalic. Tries to go to the edge of the box to Boniface, but cleared by Jim City. Kept alive by Tah, beating Skamaka to the ball. Xhaka out to the left again to Hincapié. In the final third, Verts being tracked by Scalvini. Tries to go inside on him, but tackled by Scalvini, who spins away from Hincapié. Brilliant defending by Scalvini. It is brilliant. What a half-time sub he's been. His pass, though, given away. Couldn't quite find Skamaka, who went down under the challenger Tah. He's really settled into the game quickly. Scalvini. Leverkusen trying to attack again on the far side. Ruggeri trying to defend one-on-one with Frimpong. But Frimpong turns backwards, runs straight into Lookman. And then foul there by Andrich on Ederson. Catching him in the face. Or was it Frimpong? Or Frimpong just caught him in the face. Free kick for Atalanta. Just kills a little bit of momentum there. For Atalanta, who just not really got into their groove in this final, which is a shame because it looks like their unbeaten run of 51 games will be coming towards an end here. Thanks to everyone who has liked and subscribed. It really does help the channel. So, about just 5 yards in front of the 18-yard box for Atalanta. They've got a free kick, which will be taken along by the goalkeeper Muso right towards the edge of the Leverkusen box. He eventually drops in the box as it goes over the head of Skamaka. It's now into the hands of the goalkeeper of Kovar. He drops it to the floor. It goes into the box to Xhaka. Lifts it to the halfway line here, where it's a header won by Atalanta centre-half of Heehan, but straight to Wirtz. He's just not been able to make things happen tonight for Leverkusen. He lifts it out to the right-hand side. Chested down by Frimpong to tap Zoba. It's back with Wirtz again on halfway. He goes forward towards Frimpong. Brilliant control now. Frimpong with it. Going across to his left to Adley. Can he shift it on once more? No, he can't. Taken off him. And eventually cleared away by Koopmeiners. Up into the air, where Xhaka will head it out to the left side towards Boniface, who will try and beat Skamaka to it. But it's Leverkusen to come out with a ball hit. Boniface to Hincapié. Now with Andrich. Forward towards Wirtz. Cut out by Lookman. And it's now with Ederson in central midfield for Atalanta. Goes out to the right here to Skamaka. Back through towards Ederson, who's continued to run forward. It's almost worked there. Tar intercepts with his head. But just a little bit more on it. And Ederson could have been away there. But it's now Leverkusen. Start again. Just over 15 minutes to play. Plus added on time. Jonathan Tah. Looking out to this near side to try and build up the attack. And it goes to Adley. Back into the middle here to Xhaka. Back out to Adley again on the left-hand side. Wants the 1-2 Hincapié. Doesn't come off. Taken off him by Pasalic. Too easy for Atalanta, and the break is on. Skamaka driving forward with the ball. Midway inside the Leverkusen half. Still got it, Skamaka. Goes to the left to Lookman, who's on a hat-trick. He's in the box. He goes on his left foot and shoots towards goal! And it's a hat-trick for Lookman. He is Atalanta's hero. And surely they have won the Europa League in their first ever European final. It looks like they're going to win their first ever European trophy. And Ademola Lookman has scored all three on the break. And it just shows how good he is with both feet. In the first half, he scored by chopping onto his right foot. This time, he just went straight forward and carried on going on his left. Tapsoba didn't know which way to go. Went on the outside, little step over. And about 10 yards out on the angle, on the left side of the box. As hard as he could, he hit it with his left foot across goal, right into that top right corner. There's no stopping that one. And there's no stopping Atalanta now from winning this Europa League title. It's been another Gasperini masterclass. And Atalanta lead the final in Dublin. It's Atalanta 3, Leverkusen 0. And it looks like this unbeaten run for the German side is coming crashing down here. On the break, that is how you break hearts. Thinking you've still got a slight chance in the game at 2-0 down. If you get one, you're back in it. But when you lose the ball like that and then you get counted on immediately and you concede from it, it just kills all momentum. And Atalanta look like they are on their way to their first European title. They have just completely outplayed this Leverkusen side. They have stopped any kind of patterns of play. As Tar just went over the top there and Muso's come out of his box and he's just about collected it on the white line. That is close. He's almost handled it out of his box. And he's just about got away with it. And Atalanta lead 3-0. Hosek lays it off into Adley. Tries to go to Frimpong on the right. Header backwards to the goalkeeper. That will reach him. Morning, mate, from New Zealand. Great work with the commentary this morning. Rather listen to them part $30 for being sport to watch this half. I very much appreciate that. Saving you money there. Never losing. It looks like they are eventually going to lose it. After 51 games unbeaten, They have nearly gone a year unbeaten, so close. They are 5 days off being unbeaten. The last time they lost was on the 27th of May to Bochum, 3-0 away from home. But it looks like they are eventually going to lose it. Leverkusen, as their goalkeeper Kovar goes long, header won in the centre circle by Hien. Xhaka heads it down, but straight to Luckman, can't find Andrich. And it's now Luckman who's got the wing-back Ruggeri overlapping, but he goes back towards the halfway line to Scalvini. It's now Ederson going all the way back to the goalkeeper and Musso here on the edge of the box. Goes to the right centre-half here, Jim City. Inside to Koopmeiners, and around the corner for Pasalic. The touch is brilliant, and he's got options to his left. Pasalic, Luckman's free, tries to slip it through for Skamaka instead. He's got his back to goal in the box. Goes back here to Zappacosta. Across the box here to Ederson. Takes a touch onto his right foot and shoots towards goal, but it's straight at the goalkeeper from around 22 yards out. Comfortable save. That could have been 4 there. Luckman was free on the first pass, but Pasalic decided to go to Skamaka instead. And it's now with Jonathan Tah. To the right side here to Frimpong. Tackled by Ruggeri. Foul given by the referee. Free kick taken quickly by Jonathan Tah. It's now on the halfway line with Wirtz in the centre circle. Looking to try and get it to this near side. Works the ball to Boniface and back through to Wirtz. Out wide now to Adley. In the final third. Just one body in the box for Leverkusen. Now they've got 3. Wirtz from the edge of the box is going to shoot himself though. Towards the near post and straight down the throat of the goalkeeper. Bit of movement on the ball, but nothing to deceive the goalkeeper. Yeah, strange movement on that. He's really caught that in a way that it's moved around in the air there, Florian Wirtz, but yeah, straight at the goalkeeper at the near post there, unfortunately, for the German side, who are going to have one last roll of the dice. And that is going to be Nathan Teller and Patrick Schick to come on at some point in this game. 10 minutes to go. They're not going to make the subs yet, or are they? Yep, Paul's in play here. So we're going to see number 10. Wow. I mean, it's not been his night, so you can't really be too surprised. But Florian Wirtz, one of Bayer Leverkusen's standout performers this season, just not been able to click in the game. He'll be replaced by Patrick Schick. And another one of the star performers, Jeremy Frimpong, will also be coming off for Nathan Teller. Brought in the summer for £20 million from Southampton. Won the championship last season with Burnley on loan. Then won the Bundesliga title this season in his debut campaign with Leverkusen. And his first touch is out of play there, and it'll be a throw-in for Atalanta. And they'll be with their left wing-back of Matteo Ruggeri, who's been brought through their academy, current Italian under-21 international. And they've worked it into the centre of the park here. Skamaka from 25 yards going to shoot towards the bottom left corner. He should have played the pass through. He didn't. Comfortable save in the end. And Leverkusen can build with Xhaka. It's gone to the right side here. Need to try and keep this moving if possible. It's now Hincapié on the left. Beyond the halfway line with the ball. Lays it off for Adley, who I can't believe survived the full game. He's really been poor tonight. Amin Adley, the Moroccan. Xhaka trying to lift it out to the left-hand side, forces it, intercepted by Ederson, who forced his pass, cut out by Tapsoba there, ahead of Luckman on the halfway, and Tapsoba gets the return from Hozek, and he plays it to the right to Teller. Cross it goes to Schick, who flicks it towards goal. Last touch off Jim City, I believe, the Italian centre-half, and that should be a corner. Teller with the ball across, Schick with the flick, that should be a corner. I'm hoping the assistant referee's given a corner there, because clearly the last touch came off Jim City. You track Schick all the way, and it will be a set piece for Leverkusen. About 8 minutes left to play here at the Aviva Stadium in Dublin. In swinging cross, it's a deep one to the far post. The keeper came for it, didn't win it, but Boniface wins the header wide. And out of touch it goes for a goal kick for Atalanta. But for Xabi Alonso, this will just be his 11th loss as Leverkusen boss. It's his 89th game, just 11 losses. It's an incredible record. They were 17th when he joined, and he got them up to sixth place last season has obviously took them a couple of steps further on to get them up to first and winning the division. As we're going to get some Atalanta changes now. Gianluca Skamakaroff, he had scored 6 in his last 7 in Serie A that he's played. Missed the cup final due to a yellow card suspension. Scored in the semi-final second leg against Fiorentina. But he's had his final tonight and he's been brilliant. Provided assists for Lookman, and he'll be replaced by their number 10 of El Bilal Torre, who was brought in for €28 million from Almeria. And the second change is Zappa Costa off for number 33, Hans Hattiboer, the 30-year-old Dutch wing-back, who was off the bench twice in the semi-final, in the first and second leg. He's now off the bench again in the final, as we are running out of time in this game, and it looks like what could have been, odds-defining season for Leverkusen. It looks like it could be coming to an end, trying to go unbeaten the entire campaign, as Hattiboer intercepts on halfway ahead of Adli. It's played forward towards Torre. It's a short back pass by Tar, and Torre doesn't quite get there ahead of Kovac. And the goalkeeper for Leverkusen just kicks it out of play, not taking any risks. Throwing in the final third for Atalanta on this near side. I think Leverkusen wanted a handball in the build-up, but wasn't given. Maybe, possibly, off the upper left arm of Koopmeiners, but referee decided to let the game play on. Throw-in taken, headed into the box by Adli, headed away though by Hincapié, volleyed by Andrich, volleyed on the edge of the box by Ederson, and straight out of play for a goal kick for Leverkusen, who would like to score in this game, I believe. At this point it would probably only be a consolation, but they'd like to get themselves on the score sheet if they possibly could. As I'm just going to make sure, and I haven't got this written down, which I'm a bit annoyed at myself that I haven't. There's Leverkusen attack here. Andrich out to the right edge of the box here. It's Schick to Andrich. Xhaka into the space of Fatella. Cutback's got to be right. It deflects behind for another corner. Good defending there by Ruggeri. And Leverkusen have only failed to score in one game this season. That was a 0-0 draw at home to Gladbach on the 27th of January. So they have scored in 50 of their 51 games this season. As the resulting corner goes in, far post header won there by Hean. Really good header by the Atalanta centre-half, who's been absolutely brilliant tonight. He'll be my man of the match, just behind, of course, Lookman, who's scored a hat-trick tonight for Atalanta. He will take all the plaudits, and rightly so. It's his first Atalanta hat-trick for Ademola Lookman. That's now with Leverkusen on the halfway line with Tapsoba on this near side. Needs to shift it quickly because Pasalic is behind him and he's been forced to go back to the goalkeeper, Kovac. On the edge of the 18-yard box, forward to Xhaka. Returns it back to Kovac. It's now Andrich to the halfway line to Boniface. Turns out to the left. He's been followed by Jim City. Tries to bring in Hincapié, but he's been tackled fairly, and it's now dropped to Koopmeiners. Lifts it to the left to Lookman again. Brings it down, sticks to his foot. And he's now got Ruggeri at wing-back, and he finds him midway inside the Leverkusen half. He's back inside to Lookman. And then to the halfway line to Scalvini. He's now into the Atalanta half here to Hean. Goes simple to the goalkeeper here of Musso. On the edge of the box, now with the right centre half of Jim City. High ball forward beyond the halfway line. Headed inside by Pasalic, but no one in a blue and black shirt's there. But Tar's pass isn't great, but kept alive by Adam Hosek for Leverkusen. And it's the German side back on the ball. 3 minutes of the 90 to go. Plus added on time that we might get at the end of the game. Granit Xhaka sat in between two centre-backs here for Leverkusen on the halfway line. Goes to the right here to Tapsoba. Now Andrich to Xhaka. Lifts a ball front here, looking for Hincapié. Wins the first ball and the second. Heads it down to Andrich. Back through to Hincapié. Gets away from one Atalanta player. Takes it towards the byline. Lifts across into the box. Scalvini can clear though on the penalty spot. Really good defending, and Torre will chase it for Atalanta, but he's bullied off the ball by Jonathan Tart. And it's well won back by the Leverkusen captain. And it's now with Granit Xhaka. About 35 yards out, curls across into the box. Header won by Scalvini. Teller will chase it. And he'll get there ahead of Ruggeri. And then he'll get back around him, Ruggeri, and takes it off him. And then Lookman nutmegs, taps over and finds Ruggeri. Then looks for a ball over the top there for Toure over hit. Not a bad idea, but that nutmeg from Ademola Lookman was something special. A little bit of a kind of like spin and nutmeg. It was a lovely watch, it must be said. But Atalanta can come, he'll have to defend again. But they've only got less than 2 minutes to play. Xhaka tries to go in behind for Boniface. He will chase it. Ruggeri needs to deal with it. And he concedes the throw-in and not the corner. Good defending in the end there by Matteo Ruggeri. Xhaka down the right side here to Teller in the final third. One-on-one with Ruggeri. Chops back on himself, then forward again. Cross deflects to the edge of the box where Xhaka's beaten to it by Ederson. He clears it up the field. Tar gets there ahead of Toure. Xhaka to Andres, just in front of the centre circle. Wanting to go out to the left-hand side. He'll take the ball out there himself and then lays it off to Adli. Inside to Xhaka. Returns it to Adli. On the edge of the box. Tries to play a pass to Boniface. Deflects back to Adli. It's now with Hosek. To the right to Tapsoba. It's now with Xhaka again. Lifts it in behind for Schick. Headed away by Hatiboa. Straight across goal. And he was brought down as he missed the ball. Nothing given by the referee. And now it's Atalanta to break. Lookman try to play a ball through for Pasalic. Onside for now. Now through for Toure. Hatiboa is getting forward at the far post, but Toure tried to go on his own. First shot blocked by Tar, but he can win the second ball with a header to Pasalic. And eventually an offside flag is up on the build-up there. I think the ball through from Lookman to Pasalic. I think they're having a look maybe for a penalty for Leverkusen. That ball across the box towards Hosek, and he was definitely pulled down to the ground by Scalvini, but there might have been an offside in the build-up. Was Schick offside? It's a tight one. It was aimed for Schick, and Hatiboa won the header. He almost collided with Jim City, his captain, and Hatiboa just headed it across goal. And then Hosek got in front of Scalvini. And he was definitely caught by him. As Atalanta are going to make another change here. Number 22, Matteo Ruggeri, the academy graduate, who's been brilliant on that left-hand side. He's going to be replaced here by the number 2 of Rafael Toloi. Coming on for his 294th appearance for the club. The 33-year-old. There's no penalties been given. 4 minutes have been added on. We've played a minute of it already, but I'm presuming we'll add that extra minute on because we haven't actually kicked a ball and added on time until now. Ball switched out to the right-hand side, straight over the head of Nathan Teller. And it will be a throw-in for Atalanta, as they are ever so close to making history in terms of winning their first ever European title and also beating Leverkusen. And they might be the only team to beat Leverkusen all season, because you feel like it should be back to winning ways at the weekend for Leverkusen in their cup final against Kaiserslautern. Kovar goes long for Leverkusen, right to the edge of the box here, where Boniface goes up for it, loses it to Hien, and then it's shot from afar, and it's just wide. Hosek towards the top right corner, he struck it. Referee didn't see any deflection. Hien won the first header, straight to Hosek, about 22 yards out, let fly. It was just always curling away from the top right corner, unfortunately. No touch on it. Wasn't a bad attempt, though, there by Hosek, who's looked okay since coming on. You know, for the amount that Leverkusen have struggled throughout the night, he's come on and been a decent, bright spark in the team. Do you not have any faith? No, I don't really have any faith in Kaiserslautern. No, I don't, in all honesty. But you don't know. Leverkusen might be a bit rocks from this first defeat, because, you know, when you don't taste defeat for a while, when you do eventually taste it again, it will taste very sour. So who knows? But yeah, I'd have to probably back back Leverkusen on Saturday. But like I say, I could be completely wrong. Who knows? Just over a minute left. Throw in here for Atalanta in the final third. Back to Hatiboa it goes. It's now Coop Miners. Scoops it to Torre. Headers it back towards Coop Miners. Gets away from him. Cleared by Boniface. Nodded down by Schick here to Hosek, who is not tackled by Lookman. Gets away from him and then spins beyond Ederson, but then loses out in the end to Lookman, who's trying to keep himself away from Andrish. Just caught there by the central midfielder. And the hat-trick hero has been brought down. And that'll be a free kick for Atalanta. Well won there by Ademola Lookman. As it looks like it's going to be a clean sheet as well here for Atalanta. And the celebrations have already begun in the technical area. Even though we've still got another minute and a half probably left to play. Xhaka lifts it forward for Leverkusen. Headed into the air by Schick. And it's a volley away by Jim City. Not a great one. And then Hosek can play through for Boniface. Can they get a consolation? Boniface on his right foot. First shot blocked. Drops to Hosek. Touch gets away from him. And cleared away for Atalanta. Straight through for Lookman down the left-hand side. He's away here if he wants to get a fourth. Lookman has it. Slows it down though. Definitely not going for a goal there. Lookman goes back to Toloi. And the referee blows for full time. It finishes Atalanta 3, Leverkusen 0. Atalanta win their first ever European trophy in their first ever final. Ending the Bayer Leverkusen unbeaten run. It finishes at 51 games. It has been an almighty season for the German side, the best in their history. But unfortunately, all runs come to an end. And it's happened in the Europa League final. Heartbreak again to an Italian side for Leverkusen. They lost the semi-final last season to Roma. They've now gone one better in the final, but lost again to Italian opposition of Atalanta. And it's all down to the hat-trick of Ademola Lookman, once of Everton. Didn't quite work out for him. Had 2 loan spells. Going out to the likes of Leicester, spending time with Leipzig as well. But he's found a home in Italy. And he has single-handedly driven his side to the Europa League trophy. Just wasn't meant to be for Leverkusen. Just completely outwitted by Gian Piero Gasperini. What a head coach. It's his first ever trophy as a manager. He's won Serie A Coach of the Year twice. But they're individual honours. This is his first honour as a manager with a team. It's took time. They've lost 3 Coppa Italia finals during his time at the club. He came in 2016. They lost the Coppa Italia final just a week ago to Juventus. But this time, a week later, it's different. They're the team who have won. They are victorious. They are history makers. And in Dublin, at the Aviva Stadium, it finishes here. Atalanta 3, Leverkusen 0. I want to say it's an upset, but Atalanta had to be respected going into this final because they knocked out a very strong Sporting Lisbon side in the last 16. They went to Anfield and pulled off one of the best performances you will see at Anfield for a long time, especially in the Jurgen Klopp era. Went there, won 3-0, pretty much got themselves through for the final without having to really worry too much in the second leg, despite losing it 1-0, but they were absolutely fine with that. And then getting beyond a very strong Marseille side who have come on a lot this season, and they've got a very difficult home ground to go to, but they went there, got the 1-1 draw, took them back home and beat them 3-0. And of course, I'm presuming Atalanta, would have been the underdogs. Leverkusen would have been the favourites with the odds, but there was no way anyone could have written off this Atalanta side before the game, because throughout this competition this season, they have shown exactly what they are about and what they can do. And did Leverkusen have a bad night? Yes, they underperformed, but they weren't allowed to get into the game by Atalanta. The way they set up, very man-to-man, tracking, going man-marking there, really talented players, the difference makers. First half, Florian Wirtz was man-marked by Berat Jimcity. They didn't get Wirtz on the ball, couldn't find the balls in behind because they sat deep enough to cut out any balls over the top. Grimaldo couldn't get involved. Frimpong couldn't be found in behind. So despite Leverkusen, yes, not performing very well tonight, that is due to the fact that they have been shut down by the setup and the tactical performance from Atalanta, and that has to be praised, and he has to be given praise, Gian Piero Gasperini. And of course, the headlines and the hero and the man of the moment who has written himself in Atalanta history for eternity is Ademola Lookman, scoring a hat-trick tonight, his first hat-trick for the club. He's now got 30 goals for Atalanta in 2 seasons. They've still got another 2 games left to play in Serie A. What a signing he's been from RB Leipzig for €15 million. And what a night for Italian football. They lost all 3 European finals last year. Inter in the Champions League, Roma in the Europa League, and Fiorentina in the Conference League. But it might be a change now. They've won the Europa League here. They've got Fiorentina again in the Conference League, who have got Olympiacos next week. And we'll have to see how that game goes, because Olympiacos is not an easy team to face. They showed that against Aston Villa. But what a night for Atalanta. They can, for sure, celebrate in Dublin tonight. They do have 2 games left in the league where they'll, of course, want to win and finish as high as possible, but they've guaranteed themselves Champions League football with this trophy. And what a moment for the head coach of Gasperini. Kaiserslautern are one of the big clubs in Germany. Sleeping Giants. I've got no doubt they're a big club in the league, but I mean on paper, Leverkusen should be winning that final. Great commentary, mate. Cheers. Thank you very much. Congratulations, Atalanta. I let them so have for them. Yeah. Chin up by it. Still an incredible season. Of course it is. Very much an incredible season. In a perfect world, Atalanta would go on holiday now and lose their last league game to let Roma take the 5th spot now that Atalanta have clinched. Yeah, exactly. If they want to be nice, Atalanta, and allow another Italian team into the Champions League, then they can do that, because mathematically Roma can finish in 5th. But it would mean Atalanta losing their next game, which is a game in hand against Torino, and then losing their next game, which is at home to Fiorentina. So basically, for Atalanta to not finish 5th, they need to lose their next 2 games of the season and have a bit of a goal difference swing, because at the minute they're 8 goals ahead of Roma on goal difference. So in all honesty, I can't see them slipping up. And I know they don't need 5th for Champions League because they've got it through winning the Europa League, but I don't think they'll give it to Roma. I think they'll want to try and finish as high as possible, because Atalanta can still finish in 3rd if they want. If Atalanta win their next game, which is their game in hand against Torino, who are currently mid-table, they go up to 3rd for the final day, where Bologna and Juventus would be just a point behind. So, Atalanta will be aiming to try and finish 3rd in the league, which will be an unbelievable achievement for Atalanta if they could finish 3rd position and also win the Europa League title. But just one of those nights for Leverkusen. They were never gonna, they were never not gonna lose again. It was gonna happen at some point, and the Leverkusen fans seem in decent spirit. Of course, it's a final loss in a European competition, which you never want. They've now lost their last 2 European finals, losing to Real Madrid in the Champions League 2002, now tonight in 2024. They have won a European title before. They won it when it was the UEFA Cup in 1998. But it wasn't meant to be, but they've still got a double they can do. They were invincible in their league campaign. They can still win the domestic double with the league and the cup on Saturday when they take on Kaiserslautern. Of course, a treble and a complete unbeaten season would have been, the absolute dream and the beyond perfect season. But unfortunately, just wasn't meant to be for Leverkusen. But it can still be one of the best seasons we've seen for a very long time in football. If they could, if they win at the weekend and win the cup, that's 53 games in a season that they've played and just 1 defeat. That is absolutely incredible. And it's definitely a season, of course, that they can still be very, very proud of. But what a night here in Dublin for Ademola Lookman. Hat-trick, hero, Europa League winner. Lost the Africa Cup of Nations final with Nigeria at the start of the year, and of course lost the Coppa Italia final last week with Atalanta for Juventus. So he's been on the end of some heavy defeats in finals, not scoreline heavy, I mean just emotionally heavy to lose 2 finals like that. But he has been the man tonight. Unbelievable. And that is going to be the end of the live commentary. Hope you did enjoy this live commentary of Atalanta against Leverkusen. One more commentary on the channel for club football this season. It's the last one, Sunday, 3 o'clock kickoff, Leeds against Southampton. And then we'll be having a couple of weeks off. And then we'll be getting ready for the Euros, which is getting underway in just over 3 weeks' time. So, like I say, last commentary of the season on Sunday in terms of the club football side. And then, of course, a couple of weeks off and then straight into the Euros where we'll be bringing loads of more commentaries. But here tonight in Dublin at the Aviva Stadium, it's Atalanta's night. It was their first ever European final and they've gone on and won it, ending Leverkusen's unbeaten run. It ends, unfortunately, for the German side at 51 games, but they could still complete a domestic double at the weekend in the cup final. They are invincible in the league, but they're not quite invincible in Europe. They fell to a defeat tonight. Atalanta Europa League champions as they win here in Dublin. Atalanta 3, Leverkusen 0.